Two G's on the belt, yeah, I'm feeling this girl, now I'm feeling myself.
Yes, we are back. 2Gs in the pod, your mum's favorite duo, back in the studio again. What are you saying, Andy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm really excited today. We've got a whole host of guests with us. But before we get into that, I'm gonna do a quick background into how I know everybody that is joining us today. But also quickly before we get into that, I want to say R.I.P. to Chadwick Boseman. Bro, that news hit me heavy. You know, it was like proper shocking because I feel like I don't think anybody knew that he had cancer or anything like that. So. Yeah, man. R.I.P. to him. Prayers to his family, his children, his wife. So yeah, we've got a big episode planned today. But a quick breakdown of how I know everybody here. So basically, as you guys know, 2020 has been shit, and my 2020 has been pretty rocky. I started off the year working, doing an internship in Ukraine, which got suspended because of COVID. So I've just been back here, been effectively unemployed, really, just waiting. So man's been home, man's been bored, and I saw a course online called Future Startup Now Founders, which is basically like a business course. It teaches like the basis of business administration and stuff like that, aimed at like startups and getting people, especially like people from underrepresented communities into the tech industry. So I started that, and this is where I met all the people on the call today, who all have amazing like business ideas. And I think with sort of Black Pound Day and the sort of emphasis on Black business, I thought it would be amazing to get them all on to talk about their businesses and just to talk in general, because they were all very jokes and they sort of lit up my mornings for like 6 weeks. So without further ado, I want to introduce everyone. I think I'll start with Keanna. We've got Keanna in the building or on the Zoom.
Hey, morning.
And Keanna, do you know what we should do? I think everybody should do a quick sort of background into their business, and then we hand on to the next person.
Cool. Hi, my name's Keanna Williams. My business is called Newless. Newless is a social tech company, and we run training sessions to help businesses and individuals provide safer spaces for survivors of sexual violence. And we also have a software to allow survivors of sexual violence to report safely and be signposted to bespoke, tailored support. And as Andy said, yes, we had 5 to 6 weeks of very lit, interesting mornings. So yeah, that's me.
Sweet, thank you. And I think we'll pass on to Seyi.
Hi, so what are we doing? Jesus Christ. Sorry. I don't know what happened there. So we're just doing like names, businesses.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Hey guys, I'm Seyi. I run a business called CHL. And what that does is it helps two sort of facets. So it helps young people on their creative pursuits, and it helps brands connect to these young people in different ways through co-creation and collaboration. So we're very community focused, and that's where our priority is, because young creatives need community right now. And yeah, just sort of building that and seeing where it goes. So far so good. Yeah, I was literally so tempted to pass it on.
We could do that as well. We could.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'll pass it on to Adama.
Actually, this is such a throwback.
Literally.
Like we're doing our little check-in. Hi guys, my name is Adama Sesay. My business is called Season with Salt. Essentially, we run cooking masterclasses for students and young professionals, teaching them how to cook, teaching them basic cooking skills, hacks, tips and tricks, and also just how to shop effectively on a student budget. I think one of the big things for me was like going to uni and being in first year, like being the only one in my household that actually knew how to cook a hot meal. One of my housemates was like, "Oh, that's a toaster." Like he just thought like toaster appeared. Like he just got the kitchen and toaster's there. I'm like, no, you have to put it in a device, and you know that toaster bread was like, oh, like I never knew. I said, oh, okay. So that's the moment I knew that, you know, Like,
What uni was that?
Don't do it.
That it. This is the University of Birmingham. Yeah, a strange place. But yeah, so it was from there. I was just doing a lot of research. I enjoy cooking because I like to eat. I love egg, as you lot know. Like I love hog. Like I love
Because you're Ghanaian at heart, man.
Listen,
literally.
in my mind. But like in my research, I found out like a third of students in the UK do not know how to boil an egg.
That's wild.
So
That's kind of wild.
Like, yeah, on a basic level, like just cooking skills are just not there. So just trying to incorporate that in a fun way. And yeah, that's me. Gonna pass it on to Curtis.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, morning, people. So yeah, my name is Curtis. My business is called Criss, as in like everything Criss.
Oh, that's lit.
I love it.
Yeah, I can't lie. That's
I
kind
love
of hard. That's kind of hard.
Right. Obviously, not necessarily, because when we were on the program, I was under a different name, and then since we finished, like, I rebranded and stuff. And I'm feeling very good about the rebrand because everyone seems to really feel the name, so that's good. But yeah, my business basically is we're an agency that sort of specializes in connecting brands with young people, but we do it in a way that is make sure that there's always a benefit for young people in youth communities. So I used to work on the brand side of things at quite a big brand, and then what I would always notice is that a lot of these big brands, they sort of like go into like youth culture and youth communities and just basically take what they want without really giving anything back. So I basically set up my agency to operate between young people and brands to make sure that both sides are sort of like benefiting from the relationship. So like, for example, making sure that brands help young people with like purpose-driven projects, whether it be like about things like social injustice or race or whatever. But then also making sure that brands sort of understand young people and youth culture properly, so that when they do sort of like put out content or create campaigns or whatever it might be, that they're sort of creating stuff that we as young people would appreciate. So yeah, it's like a mutually beneficial thing. So yeah, that's pretty much my business, man.
Great, I think that's everyone. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a whole range of different types of businesses in there, and something that I really enjoyed about the course is the sort of the variety of different sort of ideas and different businesses and stuff that everybody had on the course. You range from like the very sort of serious and I guess sensitive sort of topics and business areas to the more like equally serious, equally as important, but less sensitive kind of areas. And I think like everybody that knows me knows I hate sort of capitalism. I hate all that shit. So to see like young people, similar age, Black people, sort of using the skills that we have to try and innovate and do something, try and so that we're not just running off giving them our money kind of thing. I think is amazing. So yeah, like that 6 weeks kind of inspired me, to be honest. It gave me a whole load of ideas and stuff for how I want to grow the podcast and just in general in terms of with my job search as well. Gave me a lot of ideas moving forward and stuff. But and we'll get back into sort of discussing the businesses in a bit. But everyone knows over here we're a music podcast, so we're going to be talking music. So first off, what's everyone been listening to? What's everyone been listening to?
What I even listened to now.
Mine's Crabs in a Bucket.
Oh wait, that's the one you just dropped in here.
Yeah, that's so you dropped that on Friday. Yeah. I know I've recently heard before we went on air. Do you call it on air or before we started recording?
Whatever you want.
But yeah, before we started recording, I just realised I'm in a group with no Nines fans in it, so I felt that on my chest a bit. But no, the new album's good. I've listened to it a couple times already. Big Nines fan and that, so yeah, man.
For me, I'm not gonna say I'm not a fan of it. Like I like some of his songs. Yeah. I just think sometimes he gets hyped like some. I don't know, man. I just like I hear certain people talk. Like the other day, Lippy tweeted that he's better than Kendrick, and I was just like,
Say the word. I think you're trying to say there's a
big
word you're
thing.
trying to say, but you don't want to say it.
what's the word?
It rhymes with COVID dated. I think you should just say it.
You know what I'm gonna say it's not for me. It's not for me. But I do respect what he does, and I do think he's very like people kind of skip over how creative he is. I think because I think a lot of his stuff there's a lot of like there's a very like if someone like Kendrick did it, people would be like, oh right, this is like visionary stuff. Like even the promo video he had where he was remaking all the different like album covers from classic albums and stuff, which I think was really sick. So I do rate him. I just think as a rapper, he's just like he's cool with it, but he's not.
But that's what I love about Nines, innit? I don't think, for me anyway, I don't think he's that guy where you're like, oh yeah, Nines is the best. Like he's one of the greats of all time, dude. Like even like his style is very like laid back and chilled, which is what I enjoy. Like I don't really think he's someone that, unless you're like a certain type of person, he's not really someone that you're out here like trying to scream his name off the rooftops, innit? But you know what I mean? Like, and I do like his style, innit? I don't think that many UK rappers really spit in that style over them kind of beats anymore. Like everyone's going down like the sort of like the drill or the trap or, you know, that sort of like Nath Smalls kind of like funky shit. Yeah, man.
Yeah, his style is quite good, to be fair. Like I got into him late. That's why I only really heard Crop Circle. Like I knew Nines before, but I didn't listen to him.
Yeah.
The Crop Circle album I did really like. I know you didn't like it that much. I quite liked it. I'll listen to this new one. I'll see what it's saying. I did like the videos he dropped leading up to it.
I
don't know if you lot saw for Crop Circles 2, but he dropped Crop Circles 2, which was like a 25-minute video.
Yeah.
It was like, and did you see he got all like you know those like UK black content creators, like, like all them, man. I thought that was sick because like it was just putting on like so many like young content creators who weren't necessarily that big at the time. They might have had like 50k followers or whatever, but he put them all on, and it was like get them all in one video, which was sick. So yeah, man.
Oh, it was like a short film kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
No, I remember that. It was good. Yeah.
Can I be honest? If someone put a gun to my head and they said, "She name one Nines song," just one. Can I just say that maybe I won't be here because I can't. This conversation. That's just. I mean, I'm sure he's talented. You know what I did? He released it was like a short 15-minute thing the other day on YouTube, and I watched a bit of that, and it was really well directed, and I saw that he directed it himself. Like, apparently he's like a films guy. So I was really impressed by that, but that was more me appreciating like visual art as opposed to like his music. But yeah, no, I couldn't tell you a Nines song, not one. Well, that should probably change. Curtis, put me on.
Yeah, I'll send you a list of his best bangers.
Please.
Yeah.
What else have people been listening to?
I really have to think about this. No, Ads, you go, because you've actually been listening to something that you can.
Listen, do you know what? For me, I just want R&B to come back and stay here. You get me, guys? Like,
Trust me.
Like, guys, I'm tired. I've been listening to that new Brandy album, B7. It's been 8 years since you released something.
8 years?
And, yeah, it's been 8 years. Like 8 years. And she hasn't skipped a beat. Like it's literally classic Brandy. Harmonies, tone, everything, lyrics. There's some stuff on there that I'm like, wow, like she's very like, I feel like this album, she really took it there with storytelling. She goes deep. Like there's stuff about like her being like suicidal, her going through depression. So it's quite deep, but it's classic Brandy, just that R&B sound, like you know Brandy from the 90s. Brandy,
yeah.
It's that Brandy. Do you know what I mean? So I'm looking forward to the versus battle tomorrow. In my opinion, it's not a battle. Like it's already won.
I don't understand that.
Monica is coming to show up. Did you get like tonality, musicality, just impact and hits? Monica, where are you? Wait, where are you, sis?
Does someone explain the beef that they had from before? Because I don't really know about it.
Do you know what?
Same.
There was a rumor that when they performed The Boy Is Mine for the VMAs, I believe, or MTV Music Awards.
Yeah.
Apparently, Monica punched Brandy in the face before they performed. Yeah.
Oh, I've seen the video of them singing and she looks upset. Like,
yeah, so it was before that performance. Apparently, allegedly, we've got some lawyers in here, so you know what I mean. Punching the face. So, like, even with that whole The Boy Is Mine, like, it was never beef from the beginning. It was just, like, let's do a song. And you know, Monica's from the hood. Like, Monica is about that. She's just said, and I think there was rumors that she saw Brandy as, like, you know, preppy and just, you know, all of that. So it's just.
So she banged on her face.
No, it's just, you know, like
there must be more to the story.
You know,
no, there probably is, but it's just industry. You know, like how the music industry, you know, life, society, the world pits women against each other.
I was literally gonna say, like, labels are like.
There was no beef like that, but obviously if people are reporting, oh, so-and-so, it kind of just, I guess, built tension. And I know they did like a reunion song like a couple years back as well, kind of like part 2 to The Boy Is Mine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like, it seems like there's love now, so that's good. Like, Monica commented on Brandy's post about Versus saying that she's a legend, all of that. So I'm like, there's love, there's respect.
I don't know if there's love, you know, because I saw that they both posted the poster of the verses with their name first. So, like, Brandy put Brandy versus Monica, Monica put Monica versus Brandy. So
I saw that. I
mean, low key, it might not be as sweet as we think.
Do you know what I think?
They're gonna be there together, innit?
I think labels just pit women against each other. Like, literally, like what Adama said, like, they literally, like, it's calculated, right? Because I guess female beef causes like press, attention, views, and all of that. But also, not to be rude, but I feel like I know Monica is talented, don't get me wrong, but I know Monica because of Brandy. You know what I mean? Like, see, that's not, again, I know Keanna looks hurt, but, you know, that's not to take away from her. But the first time I heard of Monica was when she was on a song with Brandy. And I'm not going to lie to you, for me as a consumer, that has been her brand. The girl that beats Brandy. That's just been her brand.
Me, I'm hurt for Monica.
No, it's just, I'm just speaking just as a consumer.
No, me.
Someone this is just, oh, Keanna, I'm listening.
You know what? So actually, I love you. I like this, but I'm not even Monica, but if I was on Monica's team right now, I'll be shaking. The whole of the 90s, I'll be shaking. Did I do it right? No. Anyway.
We know her now, innit? She was like 13.
What did you say?
I didn't even know that.
When she was 13.
Yeah, her first album was when she was 13. One of the songs I really love of that is Just One of Them Days. Like, she was literally a teenager. Like, she was a kid. So Monica's been around even before Brandy, to be fair.
You know what it is? I'm just gonna be typing all these songs you guys are putting into the chat, so then I can then like listen to them.
I can't lie. Like, that album for a 13-year-old, can't lie to you guys. Can't 13. Lie. Yeah, she was 13.
What can a 13-year-old really be talking about that?
Listen, I had bars.
I don't know if I want to hear you from a 13-year-old.
No, Andy, I lived life when I was 13.
You say?
I've lived life when I was 13. I have stories to tell deep. I can get you in your feels. Do you know what was happening when I was 13? Listen. My life was even more interesting at 13 than it is now as a big woman. You know what drama was going down in year 8? Just turned teenager.
Facts. Year 8 was that, yeah.
Yeah, year 8 was definitely the best year at school, innit?
I don't really remember year 8. I can't lie. I just
1 year older than us.
My memory starts in year 10. I think that's where I remember from. Year 8, I think I was a boring child, man. Football and stuff, but yeah. Wait, anything else people have been listening to? There's a few others that dropped recently as well.
I mean, there was the Burna Boy album. We started with that.
Burna dropped.
That's probably the only thing I've really listened to, or I've really listened to that's dropped this month, like albums wise. I wasn't really that big a fan, to be honest, compared to his it's proper underwhelming in my opinion.
Yeah,
Do you know what? A lot of people back home think that like this was him. So when you've reached like a level of like legend status, that you're not even doing it for the money, you're not doing it for the attention, you're just doing it to like leave a legacy and to just show I can do I can do but I could also do this, that sort of thing. But people really think that it was just him trying to get a Grammy, because
I think
your average Nigerian will listen to the song and not be able to relate. Like even a lot of the artists on there. Like, I'm just saying for back home, people don't really know Coldplay like that, like, so it's just, it just seemed like it was him trying to appeal to an international crowd, which he's allowed to do. I honestly don't think that's an issue. I don't see there's anything wrong with that. But yeah, it was very different.
Yeah.
Very, very
to be honest, he's always been an artist that sort of switched up his styles from like project to project. Because even, what's the one before African Giant? Is it Outside?
Outside, yeah.
Even Outside doesn't sound like African Giant. So to kind of expect, I think maybe I placed too much expectation thinking he's going to give African Giant Part 2. But the thing is, it's like, he gave us Anybody, he gave us Wetting Mango Do, he gave us like so many songs.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Damage.
can you just give us a little bit of something like that? Like, because, I don't know, like, even on this album, I was saying, like, that song Wonderful? That song sounds to me like, when like Prince Charles and them man go to Ghana or Nigeria or something.
Oh no!
And they step off the plane and they got people performing.
Andy, stop.
That's what it sounds like to me. I'm trying to.
Andy, stop. Take it back.
Maybe I'm being harsh, but to be honest, I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, this is what I hear on BBC News when Prince Charles gets to Ghana, Nigeria or whatever.
Raw.
That's deep. But you know what I think it is though? I think it's also kind of unfair. Like, we as listeners, we're really, obviously because they're artists, but we're really hard to please. I feel like a lot of the time we ask for versatility, and then when we get it, we're like, no, we'll go back to the old sound. We don't like this. This isn't what we asked for. And I feel that's very sort of prevalent in Burna Boy and his projects. Like, Burna Boy's stupidly versatile. Like, let me send you guys a song. He's got a song with Fall Out Boy called Sunshine Riptide, and it's a rock beat, and he killed it. Like, I don't know how he did it, but he did. And when he gives us sort of the versatility we're asking for, we're like, nah, but then we complain that things sound the same. I don't know. I think we're just quite a tough crowd, basically.
Yeah, no, that is true. We can be a tough crowd.
But the thing is, though, some of the, I don't know, because versatility is good and all, but just some of the songs on this project weren't as good. Like, just weren't as good as the songs on the last project. Like, if he made a versatile song to the same standard, then I would be like, oh, this guy he's doing it. But some of the songs, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but some of them I just skip past. I think about half of the album I like, and then half of it is just like,
because he gave us versatility before. Like, he has a song with Lily Allen on Outside. Like, he's
that was crazy.
So he can do it. He gave us not as good versatile this time around.
So who would you guys say is somebody that gives us versatile but slaps every time?
I like Tyler, the Creator.
Tyler, the
Really?
Creator.
No, I heard
Guys. Hold on. Let's add the holistic thing we're talking about right now. We're saying that the versatility is there, but it's not slapping every time. I also slapping Tyler, the Creator. No, but that was that was the foundation of the discussion, right? So we saying that Tyler, the Creator, is versatile and slaps every single time. Guys,
I don't think anybody slaps every single time, but like
there's more hits than misses. That's what I would say.
More hits than misses.
You know what?
Yeah.
Subjective, innit?
Keanna, who would you say?
I don't really have anyone. I'm not gonna lie. I have to put my hands up. No. Actually, Vibes Cartel. Minus that rock song that was on the PL.
No, I have that.
Minus that. Because that
you
one
think he's versatile,
in it. Like, let's
No,
give
Vibes
it.
Cartel's
Let me tell
Give you Lover Man tune. He'll give you that. He's
No,
versatile.
Vibes Cartel.
He's even got British love. Vibes Cartel was doing that Nicki Minaj thing where she's switching voices before Nicki Minaj was doing it. Let me tell you, people don't know about Vibes Cartel, People don't know about Adidja Palmer.
Put us on.
Yeah, put us on.
Oh, guys.
Because even when
the thing is,
You go, my bad.
No, go through, because I don't know how to put you on, because it's YouTube.
I was saying, even when they did the no signal clash, the 10v10 with Vibes versus Wizkid, the DJ struggled. I mean, he struggled too much. My sister said we were hearing, but my sister's a big Vibes fan, and she was like, what was the song that he played? There's one song he played, and she was like, there's no reason I should be hearing this song. You have to pick 10 of your best Vibes songs out of a selection. But basically, he's got so many different styles that you could do. The DJ was complaining, he was like, listen, man, some people wanted Gunman vibes, some people wanted this vibes, that vibes, and I was stuck kind of thing. So that shows how he is.
That DJ, yeah, no disrespecting him, because that clash already caused enough beef and enough problem. Me too, I had to recover for a couple of days because I was Jamaican out from head to toe, and he let not even just me down, not even just the diaspora down, he let the island down, and he let Cartel down. That's all I want.
Can I ask, what is Jamaican up as in, like, were you like merged out? Like,
go on Instagram. Go on Instagram.
No, honestly.
Jamaican prep, guys. Prep. With the night
Jamaican. Send it to me. Wait, no, it's fine.
I had my flag, I had my top, I had my shoe, I had my headband.
Oh my God,
I even had wristband. I had everything. If I could wear my eyeglass, I would have worn it all. Do you get? I was ready. Do you understand? I was ready. My Twitter DP changed to Vibes Cartel Last Man Standing, that clash that you had with Mavado back in the days, in the general suit. Guys, I was ready, and I love Wizkid. You get? I knew deep down that maybe Cartel wasn't going to win just because of population size. Do you understand? Not because of musicality, but because it's one little island and Nigeria is big. So I knew. But the DJ, do you know? Yeah, there were so many songs he could have chosen, even with the versatility, that could have done well. Do you understand? Even if you're playing Cartel for the UK sound, there are tunes. He was playing certain Cartel songs that even my father wouldn't even, like, he listens to, but it's not his get down. Like, for some of the songs that were played, it's real yard tunes.
Yeah.
And that's not how you play. That's not how you win a war. You don't win a war by what you want, you know. You win a war by what the people need to hear.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. The 10v10 thing, it's really difficult because you're trying to play the songs. Again, at the start of it, they were getting proper music heads, like people that, you know, like DJs and stuff. So they were getting people that are actually properly passionate about this sort of thing. So they're not trying to please the crowd. They're just going to play what they think sonically sounds good. And obviously it just wasn't banging because you're playing for people. So it's kind of tough because it's like, do you like, what's the word? Do you like sacrifice your music taste just to like please people?
But no, that's not a good DJ.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say as well.
Put people on that are just there to enjoy the vibe. Like they can assess the vibe, know what to play. And the thing is, like, I listened to that thing and I was like, so anyone can do this then, because clearly, like, they haven't. I don't know. I was just like, bro, even if you jump into your DJ bag, etc., whatever, yeah. Vibes he provided the soundtrack to most of our ACS experience. You get it? So I'm like, you can pick one or two songs that everybody knows, just to ensure that you've got a couple on the board. You know, like you only need to win 6. Yeah, to win the whole thing, you need to get 6 wins.
So
you can play 6 songs that everybody knows, and then use the other 4 to put people on or play
that makes sense.
He'll answer for his crimes one day, isn't
it? Do you guys think you could do a 10v10?
You say what?
Do you guys think you could do a 10v10?
Oh, 100%. I was making playlists, like this was getting me through lockdown before the course. I was making playlists to say what I would play with each 10v10. I was invested. I was in there, man.
I think there's only one artist that could do a 10v10.
Send it our way, Andy.
I even jumped to my R&B bag. I was doing like Bryson Tiller. I could do anyone.
I could do, as much as I do not like him, but we'll get onto that later. I could definitely do a Drake 10v10.
Yeah, I saw something about Drake slander in the chat.
We're getting to that. We're getting there.
Hang on. If you really don't rate the guy, then why are you trying to do his 10v10?
I'm not trying to. I could.
He's got hits, man. He's got hits. That's
the thing. I'm not biased. When it comes to my music, music is music. If it sounds damn good, it sounds damn good. I don't like the artist, but I like his songs. I can say that with my chest.
So your issues with him as a person?
Pardon?
Your issues with him as like outside of his music?
As a brand.
Oh, fine. Okay.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought it was one where you actually don't like the music.
No, guys. No. There's a difference between Drake slander and Drake music slander.
Okay. Cool.
You know what I mean?
So we're all on
Drake in itself, he will get dragged.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I won't lie and say guy makes incredible music. I could do an Anderson Paak, 10v10.
Incredible.
Yeah, probably good.
Okay, he has an incredible discography.
Yeah.
We could say that.
Incredible is
Guys,
Let's tell the truth.
guys,
Drake.
pre-2013 Drake, guys.
But Drake's done legend. Like he said in 2015, he's a legend. Like his discography matches.
Andy.
Big claims, you know.
You just be throwing this legend term out all over the place.
Willy-nilly.
The thing is, if an artist does legendary feats,
Me
that makes
too,
him
I'm a
legend. You
legend.
can't lose
Me
legendary
too,
status because
I'm a
unless you do something like an R. Kelly or something, you can't lose legendary status.
No, he will be a legend. He will. If you think about it, the success that he has right now means he'll be a legend.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
just in, I mean, might not be a legend to you, but in terms of when we look back at this era of music, like 50 years from now, the name Drake will ring out. So he is.
But you can't like
a
get
legend,
past.
like objectively.
Can I ask
Do you
you?
think? No,
sorry,
go
carry
Seyi.
on.
I just wanted to know, does that mean that also Nicki Minaj is going to be a legend?
Hundred.
Is it everybody that's basically big becomes legend? So as long as you get big,
Minaj is a legend.
Yeah, Nicki
I
Minaj.
I think Nicki Minaj is
legendary.
No, but big and stays big. So I guess you have to look at it like 50 years from now, will people still say that, the tunes that he made were slapping? If so, then yeah, he would be. Because there's people who are big now, but it's kind of like we're not going to listen to them any way down the line. So that's not a legend. But
my issue with sort of like legendary status and all of that these days is that the issue of like artists being big because they have massive fucking labels.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to swear.
No, so do your thing, man.
Okay, massive fucking labels backing them. And then you have things like payola and stuff like that. Like, for example, some would agree, and I've seen some stans agree, that the likes of Cardi B are legendary. Whilst I don't agree, they could be like, well, look at the charts, look at this, look at that. But then people don't know that she has
people that
massive, probably the biggest label in the world backing her, you know? And that's just my issue with like charts. And even like with streaming's changed everything, you know? Like stans, for example, you know when Yummy came out, Justin Bieber was basically like gaslighting his fans to basically stream it to go to bed and keep it on loop. Like that's what is that? How's that the game now? It's crazy. I don't know.
yeah,
The thing is, I think like anybody that can distinguish between a legend in the sense of like a Cardi B that sells a lot of records, or a legend in the sense of like a Drake who has consistently for years, for over 10 years now, delivered to an extent. You get like
Keanna.
This really stresses me out because do you know what, right? Do you know what? Let's take MJ, Michael Jackson. Me, I cried when he died. The thing about Michael Jackson, he's a legend who creates legend status music, as in timeless sounds, artistry, everything is as in the songs have substance. Do you get? I just think the music industry right now, a lot of the legends coming up, because let's call them coming up legend 2.0. I like Drake. If I met Drake, I'll take the autograph. I'll take the picture with him. I bop to Drake's tunes. I'm not a Drake hater. But what I don't like here right now is the music of this generation. And I sound like my mom or my dad. It's just like, there's no substance. You're making the tunes for the coin and I can hear it. Your bars, your verses, it's fucking show. And it's okay.
No, but do you know what it is?
Dance, it's okay.
You can't compare to MJ though, because MJ is literally the best, like of all legends up there. MJ.
Prince is also a legend.
Who?
Prince.
Yeah.
No, of course.
There's very few on.
There's some people that are just undisputed.
Yeah,
but
there's
Prince isn't on
that
the
tier of legendary where we're talking. Like, I think of it like basketball. I don't know if any of you watch basketball, but I'm like, there's certain players, legendary players. Steph Curry, legendary player. He's going to be top 50 of all time. He could even be up there top 10, top 20 of all time. Yeah, but he doesn't get into discussions of the greatest of all time because there's a certain level to it where you get the MJs, the LeBrons, etc., where it doesn't even make sense to talk about Curry because even though Curry's had the impact where he's changed the game, everyone's shooting threes, etc., he's simply just not as great as a LeBron or an MJ, etc. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. One thing though is like, I don't know if you think MJ Prince, they're both singers. Like people seem to have like I don't know. Do you feel like a rapper can get to that status? Because people often look at it as a slightly different category.
Yeah.
Like it's newer as well, right? It's a lot.
See,
It's a lot
one
newer.
rapper that I
People would
would
argue Jay-Z's
say,
up there, but I don't agree with that.
one rapper I would say is undisputed legend is Lil Wayne. No one can tell me shit.
Shay,
I
that's
will
what I
not
like.
hear
Shay,
it.
that's why I
I
like.
won't hear it.
Shay, that's why I like.
Pre-2013 Lil Wayne. I don't know what happened. Like I was having a discussion with my cousin.
His label happened. Shay,
Look,
don't-
we were
don't
saying,
let me
is
get Lil Wayne
he
back.
a good rapper that
Yes.
had a bad era, or is he a shit rapper that had a good era? We were trying to discuss because
Lil Wayne.
post 2013. Sorry, what did you say?
I mean, was the question whether Lil Wayne is shit?
No, it was more like, because I'm sorry, like
I'm just trying to make sure. Sorry.
no, of course not. It's just like his not I won't say downfall, but just the drastic change between what he was putting out prior to 2013 and then after. It was almost like nuts. Like it's almost like he just lost all his source. Like it was wild to experience.
But the thing is, he got sent to jail for gun possession on a gun that he wasn't even in the vehicle. So there's questions already about how that happened, and his label didn't back him. Like they kept all his money from the Carter 4, and he said, "I'm not putting out any more music with you until you give." And he was just asking for that one album because they've been keeping his money because he signed when he was like 13 or something like that. So they've just been keeping his money forever. That's why when people talk about legendary and they talk about Drake, I always feel like you can't talk about someone like Drake who's effectively molded his career after Lil Wayne, but he's sort of seen where Lil Wayne has been messed around by labels and businesses and etc. So he's moved in a different way. And I think when you're talking about legendary on a music level, it's like, all right, you can give him his props for sort of being business savvy and stuff, but that doesn't have anything to do with his music. You know what I mean? So it's like people will say Drake is amazing because he's had this run, etc. But he's managed to have this run and build this brand because he hasn't been messed around by labels the way Lil Wayne was, where they were stopping his releases for like, they didn't let him release a Carter 5 for 4 years. So it's like.
But let me ask you this then, back to your earlier point when you said, oh yeah, legendary, will people still be listening to this music in 50 years time, 30 years time? Do you think our kids, bearing in mind not your kid directly because you'll probably introduce them to certain music and whatever, but do you think our kids will go into like music history and start listening to Lil Wayne?
Yeah. My child.
Guys, what are we? No, but then again, Curtis, to even answer that question, how many people these days are listening to rap from 20 years ago? Don't get me wrong, there's some few old heads, but generally speaking, people aren't.
But I think if you're like a rap fan and you're like a hip hop fan, you'll have listened to Wu-Tang Clan, you'll have listened to. I
think the same for Lil Wayne. I think he will go down in history. Like this man has had an incredible run.
He fathered half the game because he fathered Drake, Nicki, that group, then the Young Thugs and everyone that built their career off of him. Now under that, now his grandkids, we're getting to the Lil Babies with the Gunners. Them. Listen, don't let me get into my Lil Wayne stand.
Grandkids, gal.
Lil Wayne. My guy. I could go on. I could talk about Lil Wayne for an hour and a half. So don't let me do it.
I think because you lived Lil Wayne, were alive and listening to music in his peak, obviously, like you fully appreciate the journey and more so appreciate what's come after him because of him,
Yeah.
Like if you're a young person in the future, you look at it like, oh yeah, this Drake guy was popping back in the day. I want to look into his music, but I'll be honest, I don't really see too many people talking about Lil Wayne these days. And I don't know if that energy from...
Now, he's actually right, because there are certain artists that I feel don't get the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Seyi.
Nicki's one of them. I won't lie to you.
Right. But let's caveat that when you say Nicki Minaj is one of them.
Yeah. But the thing is, with Nicki as well, Nicki fan, real Nicki fan, or Nicki stands, if you don't know Nicki prior to your love, then you're not a Nicki fan.
Okay, that's true.
Like people don't even know Itty Bitty Piggy, and I'm like, I'm sorry,
that's a banger.
They're out.
Yeah,
they're out. Autobiographies.
You say her music has been on that level in the last, because I don't, since like 2015, 16 times, she hasn't really put out something.
You know the thing is with Nicki, I wouldn't even say like my respect for her isn't entirely musical. It's the fact that she came into the game, the only one of her kind, literally rapping in a room full of niggas and killing like Monster, for example.
Monster, she
You know,
bodied.
Kanye almost took her verse off.
Yeah.
Because she bodied it, and that was like her first proper, you know,
50K
feature, you know, and she bodied it. And I feel like just her little theatrics, you know, beefing with people, that's what made people lose respect.
Well, the quality of the music.
It's not just who she.
Deny that.
Or for me, her brand, she just, I don't know.
I think if she was still putting out music to the level of Monster, E.B., Piggy, etc., people would allow her being a bit wild and all that stuff.
I hear that.
If the quality of the music declines at the same time as you wilding out and doing
yeah.
Then obviously we're gonna lose respect, though.
Yeah.
And also,
It's sad, I won't lie.
Forget. She beefed Lil Kim, you know. I just want everyone to really take a step back because I'm a Nicki girl back in the days. I'm one of those people that say, oh, before they made it mainstream, they were making good tunes because she was. All her mixtapes were popping. Me, I was crying in the car like, oh my gosh, Barbie. Then I said. Then all of a sudden, and the thing is about Nicki, one thing I will say is that this babe is versatile. You know, we're talking about versatility. This babe can really give us all sorts, and she even gives us a whole musical theatre piece in the track. But you see, when the coin came, that's as if the lyrics left, because I said, babe, what's going on? Why is the quality dropping? Why? No, but we can't keep blaming Safari because now she's got a new man and it's the same puppy show. Do you get
no, as in I think her ex was writing her shit.
Nah, she's already disproved that.
I have a strong feeling that's because the timing just call me a conspiracy person, but the timing adds up. Okay.
I think she's just going through heartbreak, innit? And she wasn't one of those artists that could turn the heartbreak into good music. She needed to take a break.
She could.
Yeah, she needed to take a break.
Do you remember? I don't know if you guys. I can't remember what the song is called, but I can see the mixtape cover, and she wrote a song about when she had an abortion.
Autobiography.
Boom! This babe can actually spit serious heartbreak bars.
She's a storyteller, fam.
She's actually so talented. I don't know what she's doing. I'm taking it personal because I really wanted to continue liking the babe, and then she started moving mad. This is not love and hip hop. This is the game. You call yourself the queen of rap. Show me before your throne gets taken.
Do you know what I think? I think we don't give enough attention to just how much labels affect how much you put out and what you put out, or basically your entire career, really. Even the Nicki, Lil Kim, Nicki Cardi beef, streets think it was all the labels, you know, because at the end of the day, the Nicki Cardi beef it's a huge part of their brand. It's a huge part of Cardi B's brand. Like, Cardi stans are Cardi stans and they hate Nicki. Like, it's a huge, you know, it's a marketing sort of ploy to some extent.
Do you think us as consumers need to do more to not feed into that? Because I can see that whole thing was manufactured by labels, etc. And, you know, getting back on my hate capitalism thing, like, I don't like when these big corporations get involved in, because it's like you're affecting the art. And realistically, the head of these labels is some white dude that doesn't listen to Nicki or Cardi. So why should you have a say on what they release or etc.? But they're providing the money so that we all get to.
The thing is, we love drama, innit? Like, as people in general, we love drama, innit? Like, whether it's like fights on World Star or beef between like different rap groups or whatever, people love it, innit? And I can't even lie to you, when I hear that one rapper's beefing another rapper, it just makes it more interesting, innit? Because it's like, this person sent out a diss track and the reply comes 24 hours later, and do you know what I mean? Like, bro, even like the flipping Storms and Wiley beef, made Wiley relevant again for the first time in how long? Like, and that's what I'm saying, innit? Like, it does, like, the bit of drama does, like, make things interesting, but I do get your point that sometimes it takes away from the music because certain people...
When it's toxic, I think, like, when it's toxic like this, especially with I think it's a bit different when it's male rappers as well, because I think with male rappers, even though there is often like I don't completely follow the narrative of like they're always pitting women against each other, because they do that with men too, but there's just seems to be more space for different type of men. So you're not going to see a Kendrick Lamar beef a Lil Uzi, for example. Whereas with women, they kind of try and put them all into one box, so they have to beef each other because they're all already in one box and only one can be the best, which I think is wrong. So I think us as fans need to do do more to not feed into that. But
Let
speaking for every fan in the world, it's not going to be
me
easy.
ask
Yeah.
let me just ask quickly, does anyone know how, and this is like a genuine question, how many, if any, like female-owned record labels there are?
I know one, and it's UK based. I met this lady out in Cannes, and she's a Black woman. And it's a very small label, independent. Well, not independent, but they work with sort of like artists that want to be independent, and they help artists distribute, but independently. If that makes sense. It's sort of like Platoon.
Yeah, no, it's an independent label. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the only one issue, literally.
Because don't you feel like now, like not even when you look outside of rap music as well and hip hop, there's so many like female artists who are big in it, like very, very, very successful. So it's like really we should start seeing that translate to more female-owned record labels, because like the issue that you're talking about now with you know, record labels and the people that own them don't even listen to the music, not got the artist's best interests at heart, all the rest of it. Like we need to start seeing a translation from like successful female artists to female record label owners, if in my opinion you really want to see that problem tackled, because obviously the current people who own these labels, they ain't really going to do nothing about it because they don't care. Like,
no, I 100% agree. I think and outside of just record labels and stuff, just like female presence in music, like I don't see that many female hip hop producers, other than I can think of maybe two off the top of my head, and things like that. I think too often men put women into a box of, if it's a rapper, you need to be like just super sexy rapper that everybody wants to, and then, or you have to be an R&B singer, and like there's different things that you can't really put them in, especially with Black women. And I think it's kind of difficult because there's not much we as fans can do, especially fans that aren't too deep in it. Like they'll just listen to what comes out. Yeah, they're not like. So I don't really know how something like that could be solved, to be honest.
I was even going to sort of like link that to your point earlier about like what we could do as consumers, because honestly, I'm not going to lie, like I think stan culture has ruined everything. I think it's ruined the way we listen to music. I think it's ruined the charts. It's ruined everything, really. It's become so toxic to the point where every tweet you see now, there's a K-pop stan underneath with a video for you to stream. And it's just like, how can we as consumers, like how do we even know what's good and what isn't anymore? How do we even know what's genuine and what's, you know, I think stan culture has really, it's shifted the way we consume music, and I don't think it's been in a good way at all.
No, sorry, go Andy.
No, I was gonna say, don't you think that's also manufactured by the labels and stuff? Because like
definitely,
you said,
I think stans are paid. A lot of them are paid for.
Yeah, because like you said, like how do we know what's good anymore? Like I know what's good because I listen, and if I like it, I like it. But certain people will say, oh, this is good because it's on the charts or whatever. Yeah. And to be honest, even with someone like Drake, I think there are certain Drake songs, certain like ones of that his hits and stuff that when they first came out, I wasn't a fan, but because you hear it so much, you hear it everywhere, it becomes a song that you like. And I think it's one of two things. I think with Drake, I think he's now moved to making timely music, not timeless. So it's like he makes music that by the time he drops the next book, you forgot about the last one. Once he dropped Blame, everyone forgot about Controller. You know what I mean?
Like that TikTok song he did.
Yeah, and I think also in this period where we're not able to go outside in the same way we used to, like we were all talking about how there's no carnival and stuff, like you're not going to hear certain songs out and about in the same.
That's true.
Yeah, that's
true. That's true. No, but I was gonna say, like, is it this whole stan culture? To me, I don't feel like it's a new manufactured thing. I think it's like, you know, when the big guys see something that's been the norm and then like rinse it dry till it's problematic. Yeah, because I think about hip hop or I think about dancehall, where like clashing and standing for someone is the norm. Like that's the foundation. Like people are having their rap battles. Is it 8 Mile, Eminem's film? But back in the, like, do you know what I mean? Like these battles this has really been the culture that you back someone who you like musically. Or I think about even from a female perspective, I don't know if you guys will know this yet, but if you do, like But Lady Saw, before she got saved, did a clash with Macca Diamond and deleted her. As in, if you see this on YouTube, the babe deleted her. She dragged her from A to Z, from Genesis to Revelation. She finished the babe, okay? And when I see like the Jamaican dancehall clashes, it's very like, I don't like how the clash can spill out into like normal day-to-day life, and people are standing so hard that they're putting their life on the line. But it's not, I mean, the toxicity comes in different ways, but those women clash as big bad girls. Like even Spice was clashing before she went on Love and Hip Hop. So clashing is such a norm, and the thing that, you know, I feel like brings the fans of the music involved. It makes you feel like, yeah, did you hear this? Did you hear that? Yeah. But then you see it to this extreme where it's like, I don't know, like I can't gauge whether it's the case whether it's stan culture itself or whether it's just when money gets involved in things that people start pushing it too far. Because I love beef, you know. Maybe I should rephrase that. I love when I see artists really dig deep, because when you're clashing as well, you ain't got time to sit in a studio like that. That's why I really rate Chipmunk, because I feel like Chip, he actually cannot run out of bars. That babe,
that's a talent.
That babe can really come for you. Even if he ain't made songs in a while, he can come. Even when I said Stormzy, you babe, I didn't know you were taking it back to the south side like this. Me, I reached off that record, and it's like I will sit back and I'll be trying to catch the bars. And then also with the clashes, you start finding out tea. Not that I'm an advocate for beans being spilled, yeah. But it's like, rah, is that really what's going on? We would have never known that Drake had a youth. Do you know that? We would have never known. Girls would still have Drake up in their room saying, oh my gosh, me and Champagne Papi. Champagne Papi is an old family. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
I completely agree, Keanna. 100%. I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's more the intensity. I think let me rephrase. Twitter stan culture, I think, has ruined a lot of things. Not stan culture in general. Like I even like you said, like taking it back to like clashes and stuff. Like I think that's fan culture. Stan culture is when it gets toxic. Like if you know like where the word stan comes from, obviously the song, where it gets literally toxic to the point of like,
I killed himself. Yeah.
You know, suicide. You know, and there's some stans that are just, they just take it too far, and I think it's really, really changed how, at least me personally, let me speak for myself, how I consume music.
No, I
agree. How I discuss music, basically.
Yeah, I think though,
I agree. Real rap.
You have to think about the artists themselves as well, because more time back in the day, especially like female artists, and I'm talking about hip hop female artists, they were girls like that. They weren't out here beefing each other. When you think about the song, I don't know if you've heard Unity, UNITY by MC Light, Queen Latifah, rap. All of these big women, they're not beefing each other. Yeah. They're actually not beefing. Like, their styles are completely different. You've got Missy Elliott, and to me, Missy Elliott is the biggest underdog of all time. She peaked too early. The creativity was there.
Yeah, it wasn't appreciated enough.
Elliott was doing what she was doing back then. Now
it's not appreciated enough.
Like people do not rate that woman, and she's always coming on to her. I'm so humbly, sis, collect your Grammys. You deserve them. Like she's a visual artist. She's a story. Like it's just a lot when it comes to Missy in it.
She's another one where I say a legend that doesn't get enough.
You know what I mean? But I think again, it's about the artists themselves and whether or not they feed into that beef as well. Because them lot were not beefing back in the day like that. You get what I mean? And even to this day, Queen Latifah, MC Light, they're actually babes. Like they're actually cool. Yeah. So it's one of those ones where, as much as we, the consumers, feed into the beef, is whether or not the artists feed into the beef. Because
I wouldn't blame the artists though, because I think back then there was more space for different styles from female rap. If you're talking about female rappers, there was more space for different styles from them. Whereas now, I think now we're seeing, there was a period where if a rapper wasn't sort of like Lil Kim or Nicki or something like that, you don't really hear from them. You don't hear from like a Rhapsody or someone like that in terms of like on the charts or getting major label push, etc. And I think maybe that is shifting a bit, but I think that is the reason for the beef, is because the artists that are being pushed to us are being molded after each other. So obviously they're going to sort of clash because they're effectively doing similar styles of the same thing.
But so I do agree though. Like some of the So some of it is on the artist as well. Like I do feel like Nicki fed into that beef a lot. Like she was really up for that beef. And then there is an aspect of rap that is competitive as well. So like if you see someone, like I think she really did want to like outperform. It's the same, because if you're talking about sport, right? Like you want to outperform your opponent, right? Your competition. You can respect them, but you still want the top spot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like in male rap that has kind of like faded away recently. I'm not sure if it's the style of rap that's being made now or something.
They're all buddy. It's boring.
Yeah, but back
That's
in
why
the
I
day,
like
there was a lot of competition.
put everyone's name on the tune and got everybody like, listen, even though I'm your boy, I'm trying to murder you, trying to make sure your fans ain't never heard of you.
You know what? Yeah, let me. We can touch upon that. Yeah, because all right, I'm gonna say 2 points. Firstly, back in the day, like when Kendrick, Drake, Rocky, all these people coming up, people wanted them to be. If you remember, like people were saying like, like Kendrick will kill these guys in the clash. Like I dare Drake to take it. Like people wanted them to be. And then recently, it seems as if the male side of rap has just become all pally. But like, I don't think it's out of the norm that two of the like hottest rappers in the game would be. But like maybe it was like elevated in sort of the outcomes because it was females. The other point is that I was speaking to someone recently about that Control song.
What song?
That's not a hard diss. I don't know why everyone like goes on about that Kendrick. I would have murdered. It was such hey bars. Like, sorry, that's a sub point. That's a side point. Okay. But yeah, I never thought that diss was hard. I thought the verse was hard. I never thought.
I don't think the diss was that hard, but I think because Drake took it personally, it became hard. Do you get?
Yeah. Drake made it.
Drake would take it personally, and then also he did the BET freestyle.
Oh yeah.
The cipher.
Put the soft rapper back in his pajama clothes, and he said Drake took him on tour and everything. So Drake's looking at it like, bro, I thought we were guys. Like,
sorry, that's.
Do you know what it is? Back to just the point about just beef again. I think it all boils down to labels. Like a lot of these things are actually if you know people that work at labels, will probably tell you like a lot of these things are probably planned, especially when it comes to female artists. And it's sad to see, really, really, really sad to see. Like even like Stefflon Don and Nicki Minaj. Like obviously, like what business does Stefflon Don have talking to Nicki Minaj? Like, you know, you can just tell when certain things are staged. Like, it just didn't make sense at all. It didn't make sense at all.
But sometimes certain artists need to do that beef to make themselves relevant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, like if I send shots at Nicki Minaj, everyone's gonna hear
Everyone's gonna talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked.
But that is such a rookie error. Are you mad in your head? Do you know now when you want to do a feature, who are you featuring with?
Yeah.
It's like with people, okay, if we're going to look at music like business, then they need to actually get their business hat on, because you're going to cause beef, and now you're then going to have to do a press conference for the beef to be squashed, and the pride in the industry is high, so the beef isn't going to be squashed, and now you, babe, can't be doing International Women's Day track because you and the girl is beefing. Do you get it? It's like, I'm not going to really go here today on that particular side, because like I said, it's not for anybody to come and slander me, yeah? But all I'm going to say is this: use your brain. Do you get? Use your brain. Just because you got 2 tracks in the USA does not mean you've hit musical peak. Sometimes you need to humble yourself and know who to beef. If you want to beef, there's other people to beef. I can give you a few. All them new girls, that rap the same way. Pick one of them. Oh my gosh, like you guys can go back to back. But Nicki Minaj, know yourself, because if you and Nicki Minaj are featured together, it will blow you. That's why Meg, our babe Meg, one thing I respect about her is Meg has played this game well. Meg said,
she's a smart.
All of you will be my babes.
Yeah,
all of you,
she's
I will
a smart
feature.
woman.
Meg,
and she got all the features
for the them.
That's how she's able to.
All of them, even Beyonce.
Yep. Do you know what it is? I think someone that's also, I don't know if you guys are watching, but I just look at it again, like you said, music as a business. I don't know if you guys are watching like Ivorian Dolls Come Up.
Yeah.
She's really fucking smart. So what she's doing is she's befriending all the Nicki stans. She's tapped into Nicki stan culture on Twitter. She's sort of paying sort of tribute to Nicki in her videos, and the stands are picking it up. And so as a result, her fans are now predominantly made up of Nicki stands from America, and it's building her brand so much. It's honestly one of the smartest things I've seen a UK artist do, because if you come into the game, obviously she came into the game through beef, right? Like it's hard to get, and the UK doesn't respect female artists, full stop, right? And so for someone that came into the game through social media, your marketing strategy is going to have to be different. And so instead of doing a beef, she basically befriended, or similar to Meg, just befriended fans of people that she looks up to, and it's really worked for her. Really, really worked for her. I think it's really smart.
The branding with the doll as well, because you know there's Dream Doll, Cash Doll,
yeah.
Dolls out there, so like it kind of adds to that as well. It's like in America, because they weren't really doing that in the UK, but that was smart as well. You know?
Yeah.
Respect for that, and also the music is decent. Like it's not for me. Like I don't think she's making songs with me in mind as the target audience. But tune here and there. Like I hear my sister play the what's that one?
Rumors.
Yeah, that one's like all these STDs that I got. that was a decent tune. It's a decent tune. So
she's dropped a teaser for a new one on the TL.
Oh, really?
A recent name. I can't lie. I think it's called Bad B IVD or Big Bad IVD. One of the two. I don't know if I like my TL is quite safe, you know. So I don't know if I'm ready to retweet that on my TL, but I bookmarked the tweet and I said, "Wow, IVD, is this how you're going on? IVD, you're letting them know that because it's true. People thought, babe, you beef. Your first track was more like a track for the beef. You know, like how Miss Are Fabulous, Warrior. I don't know if Miss Are Fabulous genuinely is going to go into the music scene, but I like that tune. I play that tune on a regular basis because it's just a bit of like a. It's not like, you know, there's music. Yeah, like that's a caption tune. That's a little. It's like for me. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the most respectful term. It's like music that is banned, but it will hold a vibe and she'll make her a coin. It's not like she's trying to create some big musical artistry that's going to blow our minds. Do you know what I mean? And so IVD was on that way, but then IVD showed the people that she dropped her duo. She's still making the tracks. And even though her name was Abigail, right? Abigail actually also had bars, which is a shame.
That song, No Babe.
You know, yeah, I hope she brings back, you know, a little tune, goes in the studio herself. Like, come on, babe. But yeah, IVD, that new little teaser she's dropped, I can't lie, it sounds like a banger. And it does sound like, as you're saying, that, you know, when Nicki, before all of this, used to do those proper freaky girl mixtapes and would talk about some very, you know, adult things. IVD is doing the same, but she's mixing it with drill in a way that she sounds like Mandem, but she's very much still honing her femininity, and I love that. I can't lie, you might hear me bopping that tune too. I might have to get the radio version though. My ears. I need a bit. Come on, I need it clean.
I think on the opposite to that, you've got Shabo, who's made a comeback. I don't know if she was there anyway. Like she was, but you get me. Like she's made a comeback, and she's making big claims. She's saying she's the queen of rap. I said, She's saying she's
Adama, please.
No. Shabo saying you're the queen of rap. Actually, no, do you know what? Let me come down before anybody. I don't want to be with anybody. Don't come for me. Don't find me in it. Don't find me. But like if you guys remember, Shabo was like in like chewing gum beef back in the day with Dee. She's like Sneaky and all them guys, Chrissy Minaj, all of that. So I'm just like, I'm not being funny, sis. You're not the queen of anything right now. Like, not. So it's just seeing how like the different approaches that Seyi said. Like, Ivorian Doll is coming in and so almost like paying homage, but like finding her way through that way. And Shabo is trying to come in and just claim everything. It's like, nasty. Like, you actually have to back it up first. So it's just interesting. I think the UK rap scene, I don't know. I think apart from Miss Banks, I used to love Lady Leisha.
Yeah.
Who else have we got? Lioness, but she doesn't make stuff no more. But Lioness,
she doesn't get enough respect.
Lioness is a word. She's sick. Like there was a whole freestyle with like UK rappers. There was Lioness, Lady Leisha, Baby.
I remember that.
She's just been in the game for
That's the truth.
time. She's
Mm.
been putting
Yeah.
work for a long, long time.
She needs more respect on her name.
No.
Wagwan.
Yeah, I hope she gets that big break because she has been putting in work for years, consistently.
Little
That's why I
Sim.
said
And she
like
can
UK.
actually spit.
Yeah, and I really don't think the UK appreciates its artists, took as a female artist. It's really sad.
To be honest, I don't think the UK appreciates black creativity enough.
Period.
Because there are too many examples of creatives that have had to go to America to blow and then come back. Like, look at
Nancy
LMA.
Mm.
But we recorded a while back here, and my boy said, oh, look at LMA. He said, bro, if she were here, she'd be working in McDonald's. Like, she would not be winning Grammys and that, because he said, fam, she would end up in McDonald's because, bro, like, they just don't appreciate, especially with R&B, things like that. Like, they don't appreciate at all.
Mm.
And I don't know what the reason is. I don't know if it's because we in the UK are a bit more stush than Americans, or just in America.
That's exactly the reason.
You
That
think
is literally
America is a
it.
bigger market for. Well, I mean, there's more black people in America anyway.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That like in America, they have a whole. Not to say that we don't have black culture here, yeah, but like our black culture is like influenced by Caribbean culture and influenced by African culture, right? To make up what is now like black British culture. Whereas like in America, they have like
Their own
American black culture. Like they're at, like most of us will say like, oh, I'm from Grenada, or I'm from Jamaica, or I'm from Nigeria or Ghana, wherever, yeah. Whereas like the black Americans, they're like, yeah, I'm American. Like
I'm from New York.
I'm a black American, yeah. So like they have their own culture, because obviously they've been in America for much longer than we've been in the UK. So like, if anything, it's just a case of like more time for us to actually have like a solidified black British culture, the same way they have an
Would you
American.
say that's not the case now, though? Would you say that doesn't already exist?
It does, but it's
just from as an outsider even looking in.
I just feel like it's very influenced by our heritage from either the Caribbean or Africa mainly.
But that could be it, you know.
I wouldn't say the fact that it's influenced by the fact that we all are more in touch with, I guess, the country of origin. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think a lot of it is because obviously American culture in general has kind of taken over popular culture. In the sense of like, we over here hear news about stuff happening in America, but we won't hear about news happening in like, I don't know, Papua New Guinea or something like that. Like, so you hear American culture has taken over.
They control the world, really.
My point is though, sorry, just to finish my point is that I don't know about you lot, innit, but I personally am much more comfortable trying to say, oh, I'm from Grenada or I'm Caribbean than I am trying to say I'm British. Whereas like black Americans, they are American, innit? Regardless of all the shit that happens in their country, like they're American and they're not trying to say they're anything else. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think we yet like have solidified our culture in this country to the point where it's like, yeah, like I'm British, this is us, this is me, da da da. Obviously I do think we have our own culture. I just don't think that we have like solidified black culture space in British society yet in the same way the Americans have, if that makes sense.
But I think what I would say to that is country of origin, the culture from your original culture. I don't think you need to kind of get rid of that in order to
not at all.
Not get rid of, no, I mean like I would say Americans, it's unfortunate, but a lot of them don't know the country they're from, so they kind of have to say American stuff. But I think we over here, I think we need to have more respect for black British culture. Like I feel like a lot of the time we try and mold black British culture off African American culture. And we see it as, I mean, even look at like the Burna Boy album, just to bring it back, like he's trying to win a Grammy, so he gets Diddy involved and tries to get Diddy preaching whatever he was saying on those couple tracks, yeah. And it's like, why do you need to involve that in order to win a Grammy? And then also, why do you sort of value a Grammy, which is an American award, above other awards and other accolades you get? Because I'm sure he's won, I don't know personally, but I'm sure he's won awards in Nigeria, stuff like that. So I'm like, I think, I hear what you're saying about African Americans have their own culture and stuff, but I think we need to just take more pride in the culture we've built here. And I think it's happening though. I do see it happening. Like people like Stormzy, he's got to like the biggest in the country basically, and he effectively, and he's very, you know, about Black Britain. He doesn't really collaborate with that many Americans. He doesn't Like, he hasn't had Drake jumping on the tune. He's not in Drake's comments every time Drake posts a picture. You know what I mean? Like,
Stormzy turned down Drake and Jay-Z. Did you guys know that? Because he wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And that was excellent.
And he said he just wasn't ready. And I think that's amazing. And even sorry, carry on.
No, go Shay.
I was going to say, like, I think both Curtis and Andy's point. I think you're both right. Keanna and I actually had a discussion. Do you remember after we watched that thing just about like Black British culture? And I feel like it's still relatively new, obviously, compared to years and years and years of, you know, the Americans being in America and creating their own and having their own and curating and sustaining it. But I think Black British culture is very new, still very heavily influenced by immigration. And as a result, I feel like our generation, even with me, like I was saying to Keanna, like when people ask me where I'm from, I literally don't know what to say, because I grew up with sort of both aspects of British and Nigerian culture, and I can relate to both. And when I say I'm British, I feel like an imposter, you know, that sort of thing. And I think that there's a lot of us that are still in our generation finding our feet. But having said that, there's a lot of people that are building that Black British culture. Like, look at Recess, like No Signal. They are literally building like pillars that our kids are going to look back at and be like, oh shit, like back in the day, this was actually a thing. And this is what culture is.
No, I agree. And I think that's part of the reason I kind of respect the businesses and stuff that were on the course and everything as well, because I think that's definitely an aspect of it as well. I think outside of just sort of music, art, all that stuff, getting sort of foundations in business to sort of not only, like, it has a cultural aspect to it as well and can push sort of Black British culture. Like something like No Signal, if they manage to get the money to build their radio studio and build it into a proper radio station, that's a business they've set up for Black art to come through and that kind of thing. So yeah, I definitely agree with you that things like that sort of what's the word? I guess fortify Black British culture, I would say. And I think that's why like full respect to everything they're doing. And it's kind of one where you just watch from the side, you just want them to win. You know what I mean? Like, because a win for them is like a win for us. It's the same with like Stormzy. Like me personally, used to be a big Stormzy fan. His music, now I don't really listen to it as much as I did, but I want to see him win, because when he wins, it's a win for all of us in like Black British culture.
100%.
And I think as well, like the difficulty comes from the fact that in the USA, the notion of being Black is very different. It's African American first and foremost, and the fact that they have nowhere to go back to, like this is their home. So there is this solidified understanding of what Blackness is in the States. And when you meet people who are from the Caribbean or from Africa, their experience within the USA is quite different, because they have that connection to either their country back home, maybe they're from home or whatever. Whereas in the UK, Blackness isn't homogenized like that. So my parents and our understanding of what Black culture is has been predominantly Caribbean. Notting Hill Carnival is Caribbean. And so when you see that shift, and you go to Notting Hill Carnival and you hear different types of music that, albeit like I listen to Afrobeats, but if I hear a Notting Hill Carnival, I get a bit like, whoa, like, and even though I will still pop to the tune, I'm like, what's going on? Because the reality is that in the UK, building Black Britishness is difficult. It's a difficult plight, because we have very separate nuances within Blackness. Like Blackness isn't one thing in the UK. You have the Caribbean community. Yeah, well, not a monolith. You have the African community, and even then, there's all these generations that most of my family were born in the UK now. Whereas I chat to my friends, and their parents are still from back home. And even though I went back home quite a bit, I have other friends who have never been to Jamaica, for example, or Trinidad. So it's like there are so many nuances that the building of Black British culture becomes like, we look to the States, forgetting their origins or what Black culture is out there, and forgetting that for them they are so like the USA, because that's what they know. But when even if we just look in our friendship group and chat to our friends, our understanding of culture is different, and so it's tough. And you even see that, like, we're talking about some of the clashes and battles, and you can see on Twitter already people are thinking, why are you playing this, why are you not playing that? Even the Carnival edition the other day cause a bit of uproar on the Caribbean side of Twitter, because it's like, just because you're doing steel pans, but you're playing non-Caribbean tunes, like what the heck is that? But in my head, that in and of itself is indicative of actually Black British culture, that all these fusions we have, even Burna Boy, not to go back to him, but his Outside album, for me, I just see Burna as, in my humble opinion, as a British Nigerian artist. I don't know if he likes that term. I personally couldn't care less, because in reality, his albums always reflect for me a London sound. It's like you have all this dancehall sound. You're even talking patois, and then you'll be spitting to Yoruba, and now you're spitting. And that to me is what London, and even Black British culture, let's be real, it's London Black British culture, because I cannot tell you what's happening up north with the Black folk. And I can't tell you how it goes down there. But I know in London, in Brixton, let me not even get into, let's not talk about gentrification. This is a music podcast. Let me hold my tongue. But when Brixton was what Brixton was known as Little Jamaica. When you go to Peckham, it was known as Lagos, and we're both in South. Do you get? So it's this understanding that maybe Camberwell was the fusion between, but we're all mixing and blending, and our kids will get that.
I think it's so beautiful. I can't even lie to you. I think the nuances, the complexities, it's honestly, you can't put it in one box. And I think that is so sick. Like, I feel like, for example, let's go back to Recess. Let me tell you something. I'm a Recess stan. I have literally brought at least 15 different people to Recess parties because it's that good. So like I said earlier, like when I call myself British, I feel like an imposter, even though I've spent half my life here, half my life in Nigeria. I still feel like an imposter because of this whole sort of discussion and nuance. But I could go to Recess and feel at home. You know, they're playing dancehall, they're playing Afrobeats, they're playing song, you know, British. And I just feel like, okay, I can relate to people, like, you know, that sort of thing. And I feel like when those complexities like merge and come together, for example, Keanna, like you said, at Carnival, it may be like, oh, like this is the Notting Hill Carnival is for Caribbean culture for them, you know. But I think even us, for example, as you were talking, what I was thinking about is the fact that as we're sort of building our businesses, as we're doing our little things, like we're also creating culture in our own different ways and contributing to what's going to be the next generation of what it meant to be Black British. And I think that is so sick. I think it's really, really cool, and I think it's inspiring. I just think it's a dope time to be young and Black, really. I can't lie to you.
I would say as well, to your point about feeling like an imposter with Britishness, but feeling that, well, when you describe yourself as British, but feeling at home at somewhere like Recess and stuff, I think that's because we as young Black Brits, more so than our parents' generation, etc., have really had to like almost painstakingly carve out our own identity, our own imagination of what being Black and British is. Because if you think of Britishness on a global scale, like what people think of as being British, and I've got a good example. When I went to Ukraine, them man didn't really speak English, but they kept coming to me with like tea, like because Brits love tea. And I'm like, to be honest, I don't really like tea like that, to be honest. And I kept saying it. Like one guy, he had like a Union Jack mug. I think he got it because he knew a Brit was coming to the office. And he's like, oh, look, tea. And I was just like, yeah. But I'm like, basically, the image of Britishness is largely sort of, I guess, like, you think of like empire, you think of like posh white people, which I would say is nothing like us, in it. And I would also go as far as saying is inherently violent towards us as Black people, because empire and stuff was built on like our countries and that. So we've had to carve out this like Black Britishness, which kind of goes to your point of feeling comfortable in somewhere like Recess, but in general feeling not comfortable with being described as British. And quickly, not to rattle on, but Keanna, what you were saying about Carnival, I think is interesting, because you brought up the fact that when you hear like Afrobeats or stuff that's not, I guess, true to Caribbean heritage at Carnival, you kind of feel away or look kind of sideways at it. But I feel like Notting Hill Carnival has become a celebration of that Black British culture we've built. I don't know if I might be wrong in saying this, but I feel like it's kind of transformed from being a celebration of just Caribbean culture to being a celebration of Black Britishness. And like, what do you think, as a Caribbean, what do you think about, do you think there should be more, I guess, onus placed on celebrating the original Caribbean culture from which Carnival came? Or do you think it's cool to incorporate other aspects of Black Britishness and celebrate it as a whole culture?
I'll jump in.
You're Caribbean as well, yeah? Oh, and you as well, Isaac. My bad.
But yeah, obviously I've been going Notting Hill Carnival since I was like 3 years old. Like, I've only missed it 2 years since I was like 3, and both times I go to Reading Festival, which in hindsight was the worst decision.
You missed Carnival to go to Reading and Leeds.
No, because in my defense, yeah, the first year I was
You
like,
went with white mates, innit? You went with white mates, you must have.
So we doing
yeah,
I can't lie, I love that kind of music. Let me know.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
like, yeah, let's walk up to this festival. So I was like, yeah, cool. Obviously, like get back on the Monday. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll get back on the Monday. Go Carney on the Monday. Both years I was just mashed up. But you know what? You learn from experiences like these.
Yeah, you turn the L into a learning experience.
That's what
I'm
I'm
big on that.
Yeah. But no, yeah, it's just mad, innit? Because I've seen obviously the transformation from like when I would have gone in like early 2000s, like obviously like very, very Caribbean based, very Caribbean focused, a lot of like a combination of like you get a lot of like Caribbean families and their kids and their like young British kids. And it's sort of like where I learned a lot of, because I come from an area that's pretty much mainly white and Asian in Ealing. So like there's not that much black culture around me. So that every year, obviously my mum's family are from South, so I spent a lot of time in South and I saw all that in Peckham and Brixton anyway. But like Carnival was like that one time of the year where I get to go see not even just like Grenadian culture, which is where I'm from, but see more about like Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, all the other islands. And like then as I got a bit older, I got into my teenage years, it started like you got a lot of Africans sort of like joining the carnival and becoming part of the carnival. But I always saw that as quite a natural transition, because for me it was like, yeah, these men are that's kind of the same as us anyway, in terms of like, yeah, obviously there's different traditions and culture, but as you said, in terms of like in Britain, we all kind of listen like as
it's a similar lived experience over here.
Yeah, like as a descendants of African parents or grandparents in Caribbean living in Britain, you all kind of listen to the same music, you eat a lot of the same foods, like you have the same experiences. So that seemed quite like a natural transition for me. But then what I've seen in like recent years, like maybe the last like 4 years or so, is now it's become a place where you get a lot of like middle class white kids go into Carnival.
Oh my God.
Like, I'm not really here to try and be a gatekeeper to Carnival, yeah. But what really, 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 really vexes me, yeah, is these kids come, they want to be there on the streets, like doing balloons, doing pingers and all these other, and it's like, that has never, ever been.
We need better border control. Be a gatekeeper, bro.
Yeah, close the damn border.
In the words of Dr. Umar Johnson, this is an Africans only live stream, bro.
This is an African people's only live stream.
The way I see it, sometimes I feel like we're too quick to try and invite everyone to the cookout because we know it's lit. So it's understandable that people want to come, do you get? And I understand all of that, but for me, I think history will tell you, inviting certain people to the cookout, and I'm not going to put any names on it because I'm not trying to get cancelled, is it? But history will suggest that inviting certain demographics to the cookout doesn't end well for the organizers of the cookout. So they can, so for me, I'm like, certain cultures can know a cookout is happening. Other so they can see the flyer, the invite, everything, but they can't come. Even some of them, they can bring food and stuff and just hang around at the start, but you have to leave once it gets popping. Other cultures, other demographics, they can't even know that a cookout's going on. And to be honest, like, I think I wouldn't say so much that sort of middle class white people. I wouldn't say, because a lot of the time when I'm there, maybe it's because I don't really notice them when I'm there, because usually I'm a bit. Do you know what I mean? At Carnival. But I'm saying, I see them as like spectating almost, like they're staying inside and looking and watching. And
it used to be like that, yeah. But what you get now is there's like certain like stages and like mini little block parties and that where they're playing like drum and bass music and that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, no, like that is, it's never been that. Like that is so far removed from the original like concept and culture of Notting Hill Carnival. And then, like, as I said, like, I went to living in, like, a very, like, white area and went to, like, quite a white school. I always see these people, like, oh, yeah, like, I'm going Carney, like.
Oh, my God, when I tell you.
No, but
if you're going to go, like, immerse yourself in the culture, innit?
Yeah, don't try and.
To be fair, I'll say one thing on it, though, because, like, to be fair, I haven't attended Carnival every year, but I have gone on and off from a very young age. And I think it's changed a lot over the years. Like when I was initially going, at least like the reason that my family stopped going as a group was that it changed from a lot of steel pans and live music to a lot of like more like speaker systems, like sound systems.
Yeah, that's true.
And then even then, like, so back in the day, there were people saying, "Oh, why are they doing this? Like, this is not what Carnival was meant to be about, right?" But like, that's the way the culture was moving, if you wanna say it like that, right? And then I think it has kind of, as if you want to say Black British culture has progressed over time, Carnival has kind of progressed with it as well. Like you've sort of seen more like the Afrobeat style music come in. You see more like grime come into it, and now you're seeing dubstep and stuff come in. But Black people these days are listening to dubstep and like drum and bass and stuff. So I don't know if we can say like that. That is not.
It's not
Carnival, because if we're saying it's Black culture, then Carnival is a representation of Black culture. There's a lot of people these days that are part of Black culture who do go to drum and bass raves. Like it's not specifically a white thing anymore.
I hear that. I think the issue, I actually completely agree. That's actually a valid point, because I also don't like the rhetoric that Black people can't listen to certain music.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that we're naturally put in a box. I hate it. But I think the issue is we're taking up space, and that's something that white people, I would say with my chest, that's something that white people do, and they do it a lot. They go to spaces that are for oppressed. The reason why things like Carnival exist is because Black people wanted to have community. You know, they wanted to see their culture. You know, our culture was basically taken away from us, right? And we want to see it in this new place that we're in. You know, respect to Caribbean people for putting that space there for Black people. So for white people, for you to come in, like Curtis said, like I went to school in Kent. So I also went to school with middle-class white people. And when I tell you that they make it like a thing, like Carney weekend, and it's just, for me, honestly, even as an African, I feel like I'm taking up space at Carnival. I'm not gonna lie to you. I go there to appreciate Caribbean culture. I don't go there expecting to listen to Afrobeats.
Love you, Seyi.
Nah, come on, like it's true. Like I go there for that sort of thing. So for you to come into this space, not only, you're not even African, you're not Black at all, and you're sort of creating your own space in a space, I think it's slightly overstepping boundaries. I won't lie to you, but I'm not even in a place to say that, you know, because Carnival doesn't belong to Africans. It's just from an outsider looking in, if that makes sense.
See, I would agree.
I think
I would agree, but like, are we saying that change is because of white people or because of Black people? Like, are we saying that the change in the sound is because of the influence of the white? It's a difficult one, because a part of Black Britishness, I would say, is the fact that we have become attuned to some parts of British culture as well, which is like now how things like dubstep and garage and like a lot of these things have interblended. And like, I wouldn't say that like drum and bass is like not like it's not relevant to Black people anymore. Like it is part of Black culture now. So I'm just saying, like, yeah, we can say they're taking up space if they're coming and like they're making it into a big thing, which is not what it was. But like, I don't feel like they're the ones driving the way that the event takes. Like, I don't think they're the ones driving the change in the music sound, which is why I'm fine with it. Because I also feel like the Afrobeat started to come in. If you think about it, you can kind of map like the transition of Black culture. I mean, it's a jump, like might be jumping out there a bit, but you can kind of map the transition of like Black people in the UK through Carnival a bit. Like the Caribbeans generally migrated first, right? And then a lot of people from West Africa came in, right? And you can sort of see that soundscape changing across the years through Carnival. Then a lot of people had children in this country who are now like British, I don't know, diaspora squared, right? Like they're born in the UK and they have like a lot of interests and feelings which are like very British based, which is then like you see more of that sort of element of drum and bass and etc. coming. I feel like, yeah, we can definitely say that we don't want them to take up space there, but I don't feel like the sound or the changes in whatever Carnival is being driven by by them, so to
I
speak.
don't even think that the taking up space is an issue with sound. I think it's an issue with presence.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think
So
it's sound at all.
I'm saying that's a different thing. That like I'm fine to discuss that point. I was just saying that like I don't think the change in sound is because of
Yeah, no,
I
agree.
think that's just one example, and it's not.
I think
I think it's like them being there, and I guess not. I don't know about how to phrase it. Like the word in my head is like giving some sort of reverence to the Caribbean culture that it originally came from, but I don't know how you would do that anyway. Like how does a white person show reverence?
But I don't even think. No, but I don't even think it's just a white people thing. I think it's everybody who is not Caribbean will enter the space and not show adequate reverence. It feels like, you know, ACS when the C is silent.
Yeah.
And my problem is that a lot of people think they know Caribbean culture and understand Caribbean culture because they listen to Bashment, which most Caribbean people don't even refer to the musical genre as such. And I think obviously, let's make some clear disclaimers because I don't have anybody's time today. The disclaimer being that I love Afrobeats. Do you get me? You will see me shaku on the beat as well. I'm here for it. And also I'm Jamaican, so this is another level that I don't even expect to hear dancehall at Carnival, and I'm Jamaican. Do you understand? So I think for me this is the problem where people are making Notting Hill Carnival a Black British thing when it was never that technically. The only reason it would be considered Black British is because obviously Caribbean people, the history of the fact that when you were in the Caribbean, even under British rule, you were also considered British. So the notion of Black Britishness is so complex in the Caribbean community in and of itself that, you know, there are layers to this. And most people don't even know why Carnival started. People don't know that Carnival was political. People don't know that Carnival in and of itself, back in the day historically, was when the slaves were free and shacking up themselves and mocking their masters. Like, people don't know these things. Then they come to Carnival dressed in their batty riders and crop top with a big flag that is not from any Caribbean island. And
Can I just say I was in Lucia last year. Every year I have a new identity. I was with I had my whistle. I had my whistle, my little flag. But sorry, carry on.
No, do you know what I think it is for me as well? It's like these people, and they will know who they are, will come to Carnival, shack up themselves, and then drag the Caribbean on Twitter and make some very wayward statements about Caribbean culture, that all we are is just freaky people that ain't got no fathers and ain't doing no stuff. And it's like, are you moving mad? Are you actually mad in your head? And you come to the space, and I think that's my thing, is like, what are we defining Notting Hill Carnival as? Because if it is Black British culture, like, it is what it is. Like, but my thing is actually pay homage to its historical roots and respect the community outside of your weekend. And also take time, like, you're coming on a TL. Yeah, people don't even listen to soca, and then you come on a TL and say, oh my gosh, Carnival was rubbish, and all I'm hearing is this jump up music. I said, are you mad? Do you not know that's what you're supposed to be hearing? And like, I have an older sister who grew up on garage, right? So that is will hit up the garage stages and stuff, and sometimes we'll roll through. But I think for me, and I think the reason why a lot of people in the Caribbean community are getting very irked with this situation is because on one hand you have people moving into Notting Hill who are from a particular demographic group who've been knowing Carnival exists and are lobbying the council to reduce like the route, basically. So that's mad, number one. And then they're getting paid to go to Brighton. So the Carnival people that are making Carnival and putting money behind this, and I have to take out of their pot to pay you, who nobody told you to move your ass down there.
Wait, they're getting say that again. They're getting paid,
or like they get a coach. They get like, basically, like, if you don't want to be here on that day, here's an option for you.
If you don't want to be here on that day, move somewhere else.
Do you understand? And I think when I go to Carnival and I hear grime and I hear Afrobeats and I hear drill, because it's not just an Afrobeats thing, right? It's non-Caribbean music. Even when I hear bashment or dancehall, like, the sound is shifting and changing, but I'm not gonna come on the TL to move. I think Twitter is the problem. I've come to the conclusion Twitter is the problem.
I can write a book on this.
And the thing is, because people
don't get me started on Twitter.
Can I've got a question?
Roll through.
Would you say that the two things? Would you say firstly that the shifting of, like, we can all agree that Carnival has kind of shifted from a celebration of only Caribbean culture to Black British culture? Would you say that that is a bad thing? And would you say that it's I guess, leading to an erasure of Caribbean culture? And if you think it's leading to an erasure of the Caribbean culture, what can we as people that go to Carnival, etc., do to sort of pay more homage to Caribbean culture?
Sorry.
That's a really good question. I think if it was the case that Carnival shifted within and essentially consenting to that, I think most people wouldn't have an issue. But you can see when you go to Carnival, you can actually feel the tension. When you go through the floats, you can feel the shift. You can see the faces, the people. You can tell that there was no harmony in it. This is happening whether you like it or not. And also, like what was said before about different, you're now being born in the UK, etc., etc. So the people running Carnival also come with the mix and blend now. So I don't really have a problem with the sound and ignorance behind who is not from inherited one of school me. That's when it's an error 404. And it's like, I do feel like there is starting to be, I don't necessarily know if Caribbean culture is being erased, but what I feel like it's being is torn apart, and people are picking and choosing what they want without ever consulting the community itself. So it's like people are doing Caribbean, like, let me not bring the, for example, particularly in the UK, I think because the UK, as much as I love our blended culture, I do feel like because we don't take time out to get to know one another's cultures, and we assume because a lot of slang in London is rooted in patois and this, that, and the third, people understand, and I think that's where the issue comes. Even an individual, I won't say his name, said that his woman is more Jamaican than him, or more Jamaican because she's gone to Jamaica, and his woman. Do you see?
Wait, say that again. His woman is what?
Do you
Let's say
understand?
the name. It was Harry Panera, isn't it?
The thing is, me, I'm not saying the name because I'm not shook. I'm not saying the name.
Isn't she white?
Yeah, she's white.
Yeah, she is.
He was doing it in defense of, like, you know, when people come for anyone that, like, interracial couples and stuff. So he was doing it in defense of her, but then he kind of
Who comes for interracial couples?
I see it.
Who come for interracial couples?
I see it sometimes, but
Yeah.
I keep my mouth shut. It's not my business.
Some people do, but that is not a good
Well, he jumped out the window. He said, oh, she loves me and everything, and it was nice. We love it. And then he started jumping out the window saying, like, oh, she's more black than me, man. She's been to
Yeah.
Bring it. I said,
Yeah.
Does that mean because I've been to Dubai?
Please don't.
That now I've been to Dubai multiple times. Is it me that will now say,
like, reel it in. You've gone too far, bro.
Do you know what it is? I think
mad.
that, like, I feel similar to what I said before. I feel like people just need to pay respect. I feel like, again, don't go to Carnival. And this is what I did the first time, because it was my first ever Carnival, and I was like, sis, relax. Like, do you know where you are? I went to Carnival and I was like, where's the Nigerian float? Literally. Where's the Afrobeat?
They have one now. They have one.
Like, yeah, no, they do. But it's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I hear Afrobeats all the time. Like, I'm here because I want to sort of not immerse myself, because I think that sounds very vulture-y, but I want to sort of appreciate this culture. Like, I'm not going to go to Carnival and be like, where's the J Rice? Where's the John Rice? I'm going to go to Carnival and be like, you know. And I feel like that's something that, again, I'm not going to say white people, but like a certain demographic tends to do. And I'm not going to lie, I think Africans do it as well. I can't lie to you. There was I went to a very white uni, so the ACS presence there was very strong, because there weren't that many of us black people. And there was this huge sort of discussion about why the C is silent in ACS, similar to what Keanna said. And that ended up in there being like a Caribbean society in itself. And then people were saying things like, oh, you know, like you're being divisive, and like, you know, you're sort of like dividing cultures. Why is there a whole Caribbean society? But I'm not gonna lie, like I see it. I feel like it's a kind of thing where, yes, we're all black, but sometimes it is necessary to close the borders. Even as an African that, you know, appreciates Caribbean culture, sometimes close the borders. Like, because when you don't sort of set those sort of boundaries, then people take the piss. For those sort of things.
Well, I set up a Caribbean society at my uni. I set up whilst I was on ACS. Yes, I did. And no, my one is going great, because it wasn't a beef thing. There was a Nigerian society, there's a Ghanaian society, there's a Somali society, there's an East African society. So where is the Caribbean society? And I think the Caribbean has been in the UK the Caribbean community has been in the UK for such a long time, and people just don't know. Like, for example, people think that all Jamaica is Rastas, smoking weed and taking back shot. And it's like, this is actually how you have
Did you just say what I
reduced
think you
our
just said?
entire. Yes.
Did you just
No,
say what I
but
think she
like-
just said?
You
She
reduced
She didn't.
our entire.
Reload it.
It's true.
The thing,
Like you
the
go on
Famalam
the
sketch the
TL
other day,
and this.
Oh
which is
my
by an
God.
African. So the point is like you take a country who, in my opinion, Jamaica's done more, like in terms of the size of the country and impact on global culture, global black culture, it's done more than any other country out there. So you take a country that's done a lot for us, as that's why I've got like so much respect for Jamaicans in it, because it's like you take a country that's done so much for me personally, and you reduce it to this caricature that like when people, I'm a massive Bob Marley fan, like, he's one of my favorite artists of all time, top 3 for me, and it's like people ignore all the political stuff on his songs, which was hugely political, and just talk about the smoking reefer and everything. It's like, bro, like, are you listening when you're doing it? And then I see that as they're doing it on purpose to kind of, and I that's why I really don't like when I see other black people, like other Africans, sort of feed into that, because it's like white people did that to Bob Marley and turned him into this character of himself on purpose, so that people would forget the political message that he had in his music. And we're feeding into it by putting out a sketch on Family and talking about Jamaicans do this and that when you're not. And then like,
can you send that? I actually want to have a look.
Yeah, I'll send it in the group chat.
Countdown one.
Because people don't realize how conservative Jamaica actually is, and how there was even a Supreme Court ruling banning dreadlocks. So it's like actually in school. Sorry, I should add the in school. I think people don't know, and I think for me, I've made it like in my friendship group. There are like in my friendship group, I have more African friends than I do Caribbean friends when I do the maths, right? And even though I've lived in Ghana and I'm born here and whatnot, I take my time out to still understand. I want to learn. Let me hear Wagwan. Here's all the stereotypes, but let me hear this. And I know that some of my friends, they're cool people. It doesn't mean now that if I end as me too, I'm a Nigerian, because I know the context. But the way it works in the UK, I feel like with the Caribbean community in particular, is because there are so many things intertwined and ingrained in our norms that we don't remember the people that it comes from, and we simplify our culture, the Caribbean culture, down to these very minute things. And you hear people say reckless stuff. Like, I remember someone saying that, oh, I feel like you Caribbean people are XYZ because all you do is jump up in the street and dance with no clothes on. And I'm like, do you see yourself right now? You don't even know what I want. And that's why, like, I don't have a problem I wouldn't have a problem with hearing different sounds at Carnival if the people actually respected the culture outside of Carnival, and then people took the time out to learn about the culture outside of Carnival. And deep, like, I as a Jamaican, I love my island, but I've had to learn about other islands in the Caribbean, because we even have beef, you know, like small island, like we in the Caribbean have beef, and I go to Carnival and have to humble myself and listen to soca, and I enjoy soca. So how much more so someone who's not even Caribbean come in, and then you're gonna go, guys, as I said, it's the TL and it's ACS culture combined, where it's like, I don't know, it's just not a nice thing to see us pick and choose what we want. And I think it could be so much more beautiful and edifying if we took a step back to learn from each other and recognize.
I agree. I think it's a general thing of humility in general. Like, I think it's the same issue we have with African Americans when we had the long discussion about Wakandification before, and so I don't really want to get back into it because we did it on an episode earlier. But it's like taking African culture, and when they say African culture, like, Africa's a big place. There's all sorts of different cultures there, but for them, it's like they take one image of it and try and push that and stuff. And it's like there needs to be a level of humility for everybody. Just because you're black doesn't mean you understand Caribbean or Jamaica or whichever Caribbean island we're discussing. Like, just because you're black and British doesn't mean you understand that culture, because you're not from there. So you also need to humble yourself. And
I agree. I was even going to say, like, I feel there's this arrogance on two parts. First of all, there's a huge arrogance that comes with being African American, but because obviously America literally sets and defines culture for the whole world, because they are the world stage. And so being black in America will set a sort of definition, a standard of what it is to be black, and that's why they're extremely not the whole, just generally speaking, quite arrogant about it, unconsciously even sometimes. But I also think there's an arrogance that comes with being African, and I'll say that with my chest. There's an arrogance that comes with being African, comes with being Nigerian, where we don't, if you're not within the African space, we don't care to learn about it because we're told everything comes from Africa, you know, like, you know, that sort of arrogance that comes with being told that the world originates in Africa, we're more populous with this, with that. It's doing us no justice, I'm not gonna lie, because for example, Nigerians are probably, I will say this with my chest, we're probably one of the most arrogant bunches in the world, but we don't have anything to show for it apart from good music and food and culture. The country's a mess, and I feel like, did I lie?
I didn't say it.
I said it in my chest, and as a Nigerian, I'll say it again. We do not have anything to show for that arrogance apart from food, music, culture, and the people.
But
our country doesn't back it.
That's a big
no. The arrogance that Nigeria has compared to the state that Nigeria is in, it doesn't align.
Yeah, no,
and I feel like there needs to be a lot of stepping back from the African side and shutting the hell up and actually listening.
I think it's if they're not prepared to listen and stuff.
That's the thing. When I see diaspora wars on Twitter, I'm not gonna lie to you. I do see it heavily coming from the African side, and it's embarrassing to see. I can't lie. It's embarrassing. There needs to be a lot of listening, a lot of discussions had, a lot of, you know, because you never know what you could get when you actually like shut up and listen to people, you know, that kind of thing.
And I think just that willingness to learn and that willingness to be informed, to actually like, no, what you think it is not what it is. Like, this is what it truly is. And about like the history behind certain things, like even when we talk about Carnival and how it is political, even Andy mentioned like Bob Marley being your favorite artist, top 3. I want to know who the other 2 is, by the way. But like a lot of people don't know, like the song War is verbatim Haile Selassie's speech to the UN, like verbatim. It is not a song that he sat down writing. Like, do you get what I mean? So when we're talking about the history, or when we're talking about it being political, like that's where it begins. And it's like people take an aspect of the culture, and then they blow that up to be the entire culture, and they forget about, you know, the building blocks. They forget about the history, and it's just like you just want it to be what you think it is or what you assume it to be, and you're not really taking time. And there's a lot to learn.
I think it's terrible because I think basically one of my party tricks is I can find a way to blame white supremacy for everything, and I feel like
I agree. No, I'm about to agree.
Honestly, I'm like, the example I brought up with Bob Marley, they do it with all forms of black art, which is inherently political because black existence is political, And I'm saying they take grime and say, oh, it's just you guys rapping about this, that, blah, blah, blah. But they've been rapping, like, in the magazine, we put out a magazine about Black British music last year. And we have an article about the political kind of origins or roots of grime, because to try and say that this form of black art is just, you know, young Asbo kids doing this and that, blah, 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 is something that they're intentionally doing. And I'd like, it kind of hurts me when I see us feed into that, because it's like, this is what they want. They want us to think of our culture as just this, that, and I shouldn't even say our, because Caribbean culture is not my culture, but when I say our,
it's alright. Today we can all be out of many. We can't really be one.
Like, it hurts me when I see Africans sort of feed into that narrative that Jamaicans are just about this, that, blah, blah, blah. And the same with other, which is why I kind of took so much offense at with the African Americans saying Africans are just this, that, and not taking a full appreciation of what the culture is, because that's exactly what they want us to do.
I think one thing that the ruling sort of like white supremacists / the ruling classes are really damn good at doing, and they do it very subtly. It works all the time. They're really good at creating like narratives, forcing those narratives down through media, through curriculums, through entertainment, through 100%. Just general societal norms, and then putting these sort of narratives about these oppressed groups and then getting them to turn on each other. And it works every time. It works every single time. It works with, for example, Brexit. Working class people had no business voting for Brexit, but look at how that that sort of thing. And these stereotypes, again, are very white supremacy, fed by white supremacy. And like Andy said, it's we fall for it every single time. And I think the solution is literally just to listen and to have these sort of discussions, because honestly, like we have a generation to build, and it can't keep going on like this. Like these diaspora wars, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Legit.
It doesn't. They just strip you of your identity,
Mm.
and then give you one label, and then are confused why everybody is fighting inside because you're deep in that. For example, most people, when it comes to the Caribbean, all they know is Jamaica, Trinidad, and Barbados, which is problematic because you know Barbados because of Rihanna, and you know Trinidad because of Nicki Minaj, and then you know Jamaica because of all the different things that have come out of Jamaica. And it's that there are so many other islands, there are so many other forms of music, there is so much to learn. The food, even though what I've learned in this life, is that in most black countries we be eating the same thing, but we got a new name, little new season, little remix. Maybe some people smash it, some people, whatever you do. Yeah, no, real actually, because when I tried it for the first time, I said, wow, there ain't a coconut cream, but I saw it and the piece is a bit different, but the color and the taste, is this how we're going
I love watching it,
today?
so I love rice and peas.
So it's like, it makes sense, it just makes sense, but I think it's true, like actually understanding that, I'm not even going to take it back to my degree because, let's not say we don't need the TED Talks in such a way that you tell them what they're saying, but don't allow them to have then their individual agency of their culture and their nuances. It causes problems because even in Nigeria, not everybody, just because everybody is Nigerian doesn't mean that everybody in Nigeria is even the same. My friend, she's Ghanaian. When I was in Ghana, I be seeing people be chatting different hair, this is different, and it's the same. Like my housemates, a lot of them are from Eastern Caribbean islands. I promise you, even though we have a lot of similarities, the things are different. And I think it's just like what you're saying. Like even with drill, I'm not gonna get too political on drill. Most of the drill lyrics are actually Papi Show, and we've been doing this, and we know that. But there are some drill songs, if you actually listen with your ears and clean your ears out, even the drill song there is. I'm struggling to say it's a political statement. I'm struggling, right? Because I think more time it's a sense that I'm coming for you and I'm coming on your end. But there is an ounce of politics there, because would they be needing to be making the music they're making and doing the things that they're doing if you guys actually fixed up yourself and had the correct political policy? But no, you go on to GMTV. It's not even called GMTV. What's it called? This Morning Britain, Good Morning Britain, whatever the heck it's called, You go on all of these shows, you have all of these debates about drill, but you don't think in your big fat head of yours, what is going on? Why are these young boys and girls moving mad on the ends? You've taken away their play center, you've taken away the studios, you've put their mums on 0 hours contract, so now they're making some tax-free money and spitting bars, and they don't even value their own life nor understand their own identity, let alone value a next man. So the only thing they can hold on to is these bars and this beef. And you on TV want to have major debates about whether the music is good, or not thinking about the political sphere that made this music apparent and necessary, and that made the things that they're spitting about on these tunes necessary. And personally speaking, when Drill Minister came out, and did the damn thing, I said, yes, babe, I love it. Because you're saying our music is violent, but you, up in Westminster, in the houses of what's it called? The Houses of Parliament?
House of Lords, whatever.
I'm moving mad. The Commons, the law. Let me not even, guys, let me be a bit professional because I don't want to cuss no bad word. My mother might listen to this. But it's one of those things where honestly speaking, it's like, I don't know. I think music has such a political history, and it's such a shame when they reduce it down to caricature-like status, and they want to hold the musicians accountable and responsible for the stuff that they're talking about and the things that are negative, but don't ever look at how historically you have destroyed and stolen people's identity through and through, and never hold yourself accountable for the places you make that create and birth this type of music. You take away our identity, then you make these policies, and then you move mad. I want to debate it with me.
Even when you look at things like drug culture.
That was amazing, man. You should be a pastor.
Even honestly, even when you look at things like drug culture, like if you consider the fact that within all these sort of drug cartels anywhere in the world, at the very top of it is a white man, a rich white man with a very high net worth who's fucking over young black boys all over the country. It's, if you read about it, those that know, but they create these problems. Black people who are generationally oppressed are creating solutions to these problems in the only ways they know how. And then you're sort of trying to, again, it goes back to taking up space, having discussions that you have absolutely no business having, you know.
And then you invite one black
they're very
person
good at.
who might agree with you on the show, and then just gaslight them for the whole time.
Exactly.
Listen,
And
Then again, I'm not sure why black people are still going on Good
just
Morning
want to make
Britain.
music for fun.
listen,
Yeah, I'm not
to be
sure
honest,
why.
we've
Real.
gone for like 2 hours, and we could go for another 2. But I wanna wrap it up. Listen, thank you guys all for coming on so much. Like, this has been amazing, really good conversation. I think we should do another one, to be honest, because there's so much to talk about. We didn't even really get into the Drake slander. We'll do that again. But no, Shay, you can make your point about Drake, and then we'll try.
Okay. Do you know what it is? It's not even like a slander thing. Drake is somebody that has this generation by his throat. I don't think his brand or his music justifies the rate at which this generation is unhealthy obsessed with this man. I feel like Drake makes good music. I cannot even, like I said earlier, if I said anything contrary to that, I'd be lying. That would just be a lie. However, I don't see the hype. I don't think I'll ever see the hype. I think Drake, okay, so no, I mean, we're about to wrap up, so I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, no, I think Drake slander is healthy. I think that sometimes, no, because it actually doesn't make sense. Like, when was his 10v10? I can't remember who was up against.
Was it Drake versus Kanye?
I can't remember. Anyway, no, he did. No, it was I think it was a Rick Ross 10v10, and all they were playing with Drake features. Yeah. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. Can we get a break? Like, I don't know. I just think
his features were amazing.
Mate, I'm not denying it.
That's why they played them. Like, some of the songs are the ones that Drake has.
I'm sorry, but my agenda must run. My agenda must run. Agenda over facts, can we just say? Anyway. But yeah, no, Drake slander is healthy. I think we should have it a lot more, especially in music discussions, because I'm sorry, like, the hype is just not there.
Yeah, to be honest, everyone knows I have like a love-hate relationship with Drake, because I love his music at times, but I hate everything else. And I would say I agree with you, because for me, I think Drake raps about himself, and the reason it's done so well is because we have an unhealthy obsession with his life. And it's an interesting question as well, because in 50 years' time, when our kids don't care about Drake's life, will they care about him?
Oh, wait. No, I have to step in. I don't think it's him.
Just because you look like Drake, innit?
Let me, I don't think it's just that, though. I don't think it's just that. If you wanna like, because we can still put it in negative terms here, but he raps from a very narcissistic perspective, which a lot of people identify with. Okay. A lot of people have the same sort of thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like people like, no one really wants to hear that much about someone else's life. I don't think that's what it is with Drake. I think it's like that sort of
see themselves in him, because
that sort of like those narcissistic qualities. A lot of people deep down have some of those qualities. So I think it's more that than listening to his life.
That's a very good point.
But I think he stopped doing that as well lately. I think he did that very well in his early career. I think now it's kind of like, it's just like,
I was just too slander
music
in Arabic, bro.
Yeah. But just quickly on Shay's point about like he's very overhyped, which he is, and like obviously he's blown up more than probably what he deserves in terms of his ability and all the rest of it, but don't you feel, like the people that are really like hardcore Drake fans, the people who are like, live and die Drake, like that's my guy, there are certain types of people who I personally don't look at them as like proper music people. Like, I'm not even like the most knowledgeable music person, but I know enough to not be like, to put Drake on some pedestal, and I feel like the people who do generally are not as well versed in sort of like whether it be like hip hop or R&B or music, like general that sort of like genre of music and relatable genres. I don't really see like the true music fans really putting Drake on that pedestal like that. So
agree with
for
that.
me, the people that do sort of like rep Drake like that are the people who, I don't want to call it lazy, but they're just people who don't look into music as enough, and they just see the main guy who's on the radio all the time, he's on TV all the time, whatever, and they're just like, oh yeah, his music sounds cool. He's obviously got.
I would say that's the case with a lot of them, but I do definitely know people that are like music. Like I could bring them on the show and we could have a 2-3 hour discussion about music. Like they know music that stand by Drake being the best ever, everything. Yeah, my barber. Every time I get a trim, my barber will put my ear off about Drake, and I just because obviously he's got the fate of my trim in his hands, so I have to just nod. But like, and I do hear he's got a lot of good points, and I do hear his thing like because Drake has effectively been on the top of rap for close to a decade. Which is something that no one else has really done in the same way that Drake has. So I understand like the accolades and stuff, but I'm like, but listening to the music in particular, especially from like 2016 onwards, it's like, you can't say that he's still performing at that level that he was when he was, I say prime Drake is when he was doing the Edgware Road thing, you know, with smoking shisha, everything. That's prime Drake to me.
That's one thing I forgot to mention. He's a vulture. Give it a
No.
rest.
You know what? This
But
could go.
do you know what? Think I feel like Drake has remained on top because he's a comedian. Let's give him a new animal, or reptile. Because this guy makes tracks according to what is popping now. So of course he can be on top. When we wanted a bit of a little dance hall swing there, he was. Can you see him with Popcorn right now? They're on mixtape together. Drake knows what he's doing. Drake is a bit. You see this brain up here?
He's a businessman.
You see Drake's brain?
He's a
businessman, and that's why he remains on top because he knows Wagwan. Yeah,
no, but that's...
and he remains on top globally, as in he pricks himself in all the countries he wants to be in. So he's got his twist and turn with Popcorn. He then has his freestyle with Heady One. He's letting the people know, you're not gonna forget me. I'm gonna be here.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he remains on top, because it's not as if he's still making music the same way he made back in the days. He's now making whatever sells Drake vibes that will keep him there, and I respect that because I told you.
Again, the music industry is a business, and he's just—I'm not gonna lie to you. He's one of those people that just know the business.
Like,
I think you can split it.
You have to divorce the business aspect from the music aspect if you're talking about legendary. Like you can only the business aspect you can obviously applaud it and everything, but you have to hold it to a certain extent. Like music has to in my opinion, the music has to supersede that. But,
and do you think it does?
Andy, you were the one who said that he was legendary.
He's a legend. He's a legend because of what he's done. But I'm saying that
think about it. When you talk about legends, no one's trying to sit down and be like, oh yeah, but then the music aspect. When you talk about legends, you're just trying to talk about who's made the most impact. You're trying to talk about who's made the most.
You can't deny his impact. Like, he's a legend. I'm not gonna say that. I don't put him in GOAT conversations. Like he barely touches my top 10 of all time. Hip hop, not just all time artists. Like hip hop, he barely touches my top 10. Like I put him top 20, and he could sort of scrape into the top 10. But like, there's artists that I feel like, especially for an artist of Drake's caliber and size, he hasn't really spoken about anything. He hasn't spoken on anything that is of substance. Really.
You don't have to speak on anything.
You don't have to.
Like, we need to divorce that idea from music. Doesn't have to be political.
If you want to be in the GOAT conversations, you have to. The same way, if you want to be in a GOAT conversation in basketball, you have to win a ring. Like even if you're Allen Iverson, best player on the team, everything, and everybody, the reason you didn't win a ring is because of the people that are around you. Or Charles Barkley, where MJ is the reason he didn't win a ring. You can't be in the GOAT conversation because you don't have a ring. I'm sorry, bro. Like,
sorry, Andy. Quickly, can I just confirm? Is J. Cole in your GOAT conversation?
No.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Curtis, is J. Cole in your GOAT conversation?
Fair enough.
We can't be putting Drake over J. Cole.
No.
Just confirming we're all on the same wavelength.
I do like J. Cole.
I'm a big fan, but he's not greatest of. He's not in the greatest.
Yeah, GOAT is
of all time.
That's the greatest of all
But
time.
I
There's a
think
difference.
that, do you know what a good point that was made? Is that what if you just are making music for vibes? I feel like because in black music particularly, it's always so political. What if you're just making vibes? Like, why can't you get to legendary status on just vibes? You know? I feel like that's what a lot of the new legends are doing anyway.
Man. Like, we have to get serious at some point.
Yeah, people don't appreciate
But not in
that.
music though. You don't have to get serious in music.
To me, if you want to be on that level, you can make a tune that makes people think and makes people.
True. Yeah, but you
know
can
what
be
I
a
mean?
politician,
And
innit? If you wanna, you don't have
It can
to.
still be vibes, but that's the thing, because you wouldn't say Bob Marley's a politician, but he still did it. There's songs.
Do you know
Yeah,
what I
and that's
think
fine.
it
That's
is?
fine.
And
That's
why
completely
and that's
fine
why
that he
No,
did
I
that.
think
But it doesn't have to be like that. That's what I'm
It
saying.
doesn't have
I
to,
feel
that's
like
why
from
I
like
put
a
that to a higher extent, because it's like he can do that and still give us this. Do you know
But
what I mean?
how can you put that to a higher extent musically? Because it's not related to music. It's related to a message.
I agree.
do you know what it is? At the end of the day, like
I agree.
what actually impacts people is just basic psychology. How do you make them feel? So the reason with Drake is I wouldn't say it's just vibes. I would say things like Take Care, that sort of thing. That made people feel shit. And that is why people will hang on to Drake. No matter what he puts out, that album, people will hang on to Drake and they will put him in good conversations because it made them feel shit. It was the soundtrack for a lot of us, you know, coming of age, first heartbreak type vibes. And that's what people will remember. People won't remember what you say, what you did,
Some
but they
people
remember how
need to
you
get
made
over
them
that
feel.
though. Some people need
No.
to get one of
No.
my
Yeah,
he holds
yeah.
it, he holds it that Views is a classic because he cried to redemption because he was going through it with his girl. Bro, come on,
Whoa,
man.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
You don't even
whoa,
talk to
whoa.
that
That's
kind
a
of
bit
people,
mad.
but still-
Listen, man, you can't attack someone for how the music made them feel, innit? Like
It's true.
let that
It's
guy live his life.
subjective.
It is very
I
subjective.
think, do you know what I'm deep in these music conversations, that often we have the expectation for an artist to be an activist, because even when it came to the Burna Boy thing, it's like, babe, do you know what's happening politically right now? And it's the USA that you wanted to run to, and it's this type, these are the tracks you wanted to bring out. But I'm deep in this life. You know what? If you're an artist and you just came into the music for vibe, I can't be mad at you. It's me. I expected too much of you. It's me.
Yeah.
So when Drake wants to
ones
chat
that
about
just vibing.
gyal and heartbreak, it's okay.
But do you think the ones that are just
Yeah, bro.
vibing can be held to the same level as those that can also just vibe and
What at all?
Are you talking
I-
about
yeah,
like
I
all
think
this?
so.
If
Yeah.
it's about music, I can't give.
Alright.
I can't
Yeah.
basically wait like
Yeah,
say that.
okay.
Oh, because A is an activist and you're doing just vibes. Because me, sometimes I want to just shuck up myself. I
was
don't
gonna
want to
say
get
sometimes
deep.
no one's trying to go to the club and hear, oh, that's a lie. Never mind. That's a big lie. I was gonna say no one's trying to go to the club and hear first things first, rest in peace, but that's a big fucking lie because I would like to hear
That's
that
true.
song. But you know, some of J. Cole's songs, and I think he does deserve the respect he gets for creating music that makes people think different. I would say that I would listen to a J. Cole song and I'd be like, oh shit, like okay. But I'm sorry, like it's okay to make you know, like kind of music. Like I'm trying to go to the club and I'm trying to hear nonsense. I don't want to think about my life, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And similar to what Keanna said, I think there's that unnecessary. There is that overwhelming rather pressure that we put on artists to create music that we want to hear, which is none of their business. They create music that they like, you know. And yeah, I think that's a valid point.
You might be right. Yeah, maybe I've got too high expectations in it. But
Where would you put someone like Notorious B.I.G. Because he didn't really have a message. Because my thing is with rap, yeah.
That guy's a lyrical genius.
That's my thing with rap. If we're talking rap, then surely we should be talking about the way people put words together, the stories they can, rather than like that they have to have.
Are we having
certain
a
type of
best
message?
MC? Are we having a best MC discussion or best hip hop artist, like the artist?
No. If we're talking best MC and best hip hop artists are not too far away. If you want to talk best lyricist, that's a different conversation.
Oh, sorry.
But then there's people that are above
But then when
B.I.G.
you talk about
and
putting
people
words
that are
together,
behind that
that's when we
conversation.
talk about lyrics.
Lyrically, I would Notorious be unmatched. I would say near unmatched. I think
I can throw some names in there that
Something-
you can match, but
no, something.
but
Do you know what
it's-
it is? I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we were saying that sort of like the Tupac and Biggie sort of discussions. Again, I will probably get dragged for this, but a lot of them are fueled by nostalgia. When
Yeah, no,
people
we've
don't
had
live
this
up to
discussion,
their
yeah.
potential or what they could have, I
Yeah.
think we tend to put like, for example, compared to like MJ, he actually had a good run. So when he passed, unfortunately, we could look back and be like, okay, but with Tupac and Biggie, I feel like people hang on to what could have been, and I think that just basically blurs a lot of the valid discussions that could be had with those two. However, I can objectively say that Biggie is a lyrical genius. I will not dispute that at all.
I agree.
We've had
I
that
agree.
discussion. Like I said, had Lil Wayne died, like God forbid that. Imagine if he died in 2011 after his run and he was at the peak of that. He'd be in the same discussions with Tupac, Biggie, etc. So sometimes that's why I kind of take them out when I'm discussing them, because firstly I wasn't around when they were at their peak, so I was always looking back. And secondly, I think the discussions are never objective, because it's I mean, obviously music is subjective, but it's always got a level of nostalgia. But
exactly.
anyway, yeah. I really don't want to wrap this up, but I feel like we should, because like almost 2.5 hours now. But yeah, thank you guys again for coming on. And do you guys all want to sort of shout out your socials or any like projects you've got coming up or anything that you want people to look out for before we leave?
Yeah, so at the agency, we are underpinned by a community of young creatives that we always want to work with to help bring clients' projects to life. And I think that the more young people get to work on shit, the more, I guess, the scope of storytelling as we know it in the UK will change, you know, the more we get to tell our own stories. So if you're a young creative and you want to be able to like work on shit or just meet other like-minded people, then do join the CHL community. Follow us on Instagram at CHL the agency, and then you can see like links to like our Facebook group. There's currently 132 of us, but we always want more people, and it's lit.
Amazing, thank you. Should we do it again, like a checkout, and just pass it on to the next person?
Yeah, I'll pass it on to Curtis.
Oh, yeah, so simply just follow up our agency Instagram page. So it's @_everything, so everything without a H, Criss. But yeah, we do like a load of different community projects, like working with the Regal basketball court in Vauxhall. We've got like an unofficial partnership with them at the moment, sort of like supporting the young people that go through that community and working with them to just grow the community. But yeah, obviously that we're also very community focused going into like different youth communities and stuff. So if there's anyone who is part of a community and you want to collaborate on some work, or you just want to follow the journey that we're going on with different communities, then give the Instagram page a follow. So yeah, man. Oh yeah, I'll pass it on to Adama.
I've got a couple things to shout out. I'm gonna be cheeky. First one is Seasoned with Salt. Like, follow us on Instagram. It's @seasonedwithsalt_. Come learn how to boil an egg. We're gonna be starting in classes soon. And yeah, it's just a vibe, like getting young people together, teaching, learning, all of that great stuff. Also part of another startup called Anchorize CIC on Instagram, and we're basically a sustainable fashion brand with a social cause. So our social cause is actually funding education for young women across the continent of Africa. We're starting specifically in Nigeria because that's where a lot of us on the founding team are from. It costs about £8 to send certain girls to schools in certain states. This is public schooling. It costs about £8 for an entire academic year. And a lot of girls are being held back from progressing in that sense because they're just not valued in terms of, you know, progressing as opposed to the male child. So we're trying to push that agenda. You know, we hear the statistics about when you educate young women and how that can affect entire economies, entire countries. So that's the agenda that we're pushing, trying to get our girls into school for them to finish their education and go on to better things. So check that out. That is Anchorize CIC on Instagram as well.
Wait, say that again. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Anchorize, so ANCHORISECIC. On Instagram. I'm going to pass on to Keanna.
Thank you, Ad.
Follow Newless on Instagram at Newless Tech. That is NULLUSTECH. We'll be launching very, very soon, and the work that we will be doing and sharing is super, super important for us all to learn from both a supportive and preventative lens. And also follow TCU at TCU_UK. We're a Caribbean network dedicated to educating, empowering and connecting the Caribbean diaspora and more, and really just ensuring that the scene never ever is silent, and that we can all learn about the beauty of Caribbean culture, the fusion of Caribbean culture we see in the UK, but also from a professional and personal development, how we can actually have spaces that are more diverse, but also genuinely inclusive. So yeah, follow us on those and keep in touch. We would love to hear from you, and we appreciate all the support.
Thank you guys for coming on. Thank you so much. And I mean, we're gonna leave you with Fling, because obviously it's Carnival weekend and everybody loves that song. So yeah, here's Fling. And yeah, we'll catch you soon.
Listen, guys, we're out here. Follow us on Instagram at 2Gs in a pod, Twitter at 2Gs in a pod _. You already know the SoundCloud. Where are you listening to this episode? Come on.
Yeah, so here's Fling, and enjoy your Carnival weekend. Even though we can't go outside, try and enjoy it as best you can.
2 G's on the belt, yeah, I'm feeling this girl, and I'm feeling myself.